what if you lose your card? So you're always sorted, whether you're here or here,
G'day, mate.
or thousands of other places worldwide. Get your travel money sorted with An Post Money. Visit anpost.com or your local post office. T's and C's apply. An Post Money currency card is issued by PPS EUSA, pursuant to licence by MasterCard International. PPS EUSA is authorised by the National Bank of Belgium and is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland for conduct of business rules.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from 40,000 to 600,000 euro with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127. And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, a very good morning to you. It's 5 minutes past 9 on this Tuesday, the 8th of March, and you're very welcome along to the 9 till noon show. Our lines are open for you right now to get involved on what is a interesting and busy show. We hope you'll agree. Caroline is taking your calls right now, 074 91 25000, 074 91 25000. If you want to text or WhatsApp, it's 086 60 25000, 086 60 25000. If you want to watch the programme and engage with us on our social media, go to highlandradio.com, the website there. You'll see the links where you can click through and watch in your browser, or go straight to our Facebook pages, News and Sport, Highland Hub, or on YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland. Okay, as I say, plenty to keep you entertained and informed, but let's start with a look at the newspapers. The Donegal People's Press this morning, Rosnala Beach Chase. I think most people on social media will have caught sight of this incident unravel or unfold. A number of motorcyclists led Gardaí in a chase across part of Rosnala's renowned Blue Flag Beach on Sunday. Walkers and sunseekers watched in horror as the bikers drove at speed as they attempted to avoid being caught. Gardaí were alerted to the incident at around 3:15. A number of motorcycles were observed driving dangerously along the beach at the time and had failed to stop when requested to by Gardaí. The Derry Journal this morning, a Ukrainian woman living in Buncrana has spoken of her heartbreak at what is happening in her native land and the plight of those unable to flee. Natasha Babirova also spoke of her own personal fears of how each day she wakes up, she does not know if her family in her homeland are alive. The local woman was among a number of Ukrainian people who joined over 100 others in Buncrana's Market Square on Thursday evening for a candlelit vigil. The Ukrainian situation dominating the front of the Nationals as well, of course, under the banner War in Europe. The Irish Independent tells us that the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine deepened yesterday as Russian forces intensified their shelling. Food, water, fuel and medicine grew increasingly scarce in what the country condemned at The Hague as a medieval-style siege by Moscow to batter it into submission. A third round of talks between the two sides ended with a top Ukrainian official saying there had been minor, unspecified progress towards establishing safe corridors that would allow civilians to escape the fighting. So that's the focus of their negotiations. Putin's very clear in what he wants. He wants the eastern parts, Donetsk, etc., to be recognised as independent states. He wants Crimea to be recognised as Russian, and he wants assurances that Ukraine will remain neutral. Those are his red lines, and if he doesn't achieve that, he says he will not stop. Well, Russia's chief negotiator said he expects those corridors to start opening from today. However, that remained to be seen, and these corridors lead to Belarus and to Russia for the most part, and not to the west. So I suppose they could argue that they are meeting the agreement, but not in a way that was to be expected. The state will pay €100,000 to the families of healthcare workers who died from COVID-19 during the pandemic under plans going to Cabinet today. Minister for Health Stephen Donnelly will seek approval for a scheme that will cover a small number of workers. To qualify people will have to have contracted the virus in the workplace. It's thought the families or estates of more than 20 workers will benefit from the tax-free payment, which will be paid on a flat rate and on an ex gratia basis, unrelated to the salary of the person who died. According to latest figures compiled by the Health Protection Surveillance Centre, there were 21 deaths related to the disease amongst healthcare workers in the state. They include HSE staff, locum agency and contract workers, those in private nursing homes and cleaning staff. On to the Irish Daily Mail now, and of course we're all feeling the pinch as it relates to the petrol pumps, the diesel pumps, home heating oil, and also now in the shops, because the Mail tells us that shoppers are ditching their favourite brands for supermarkets' own labels as they fight off spiralling prices, a report revealed yesterday. Irish take-home grocery sales fell by 4.5% over the 12 weeks to February 20th. The latest figures from analyst Kantar show. Grocery prices went up 2.4% over the past 12 weeks, the equivalent of a steep rise of 10% a year. The number of products on promotion fell by more than 10% year on year as supermarkets sought to manage spiralling supply costs. Kantar retail analyst Emer Healy said prices are rising across the board, and that's being felt at the grocery till. So in terms of how stores compare, Dunnes Stores, it's got a 23% market share. Change in spend since 2020 up 8.7%. SuperValu up 14.2%. Tesco 13.2%. Lidl up 17.9%. And Aldi up 11.4%. Right, on to now the Irish Daily Star, and Micheál Martin has been speaking as it relates to the Ukrainians arriving into this country, and he has confirmed that all Ukrainian refugees who fled Ireland will be given PPS numbers and social welfare payments for at least 6 months. The Department of Social Protection confirmed that all Ukrainian refugees are deemed to satisfy their habitual residency conditions and qualify for social welfare payments. And this, of course, their arrival here was one of the drivers, if not the principal driver, for Stephen Donnelly announcing that you no longer needed to have a test coming into this country. The Department of Social Protection confirmed that all Ukrainian refugees, as I mentioned, are deemed to satisfy those conditions. Applications for PPS numbers will be fast-tracked, and Ukrainian refugees will be able to avail of supplementary welfare allowance until their application for other social welfare payments are processed. Around 1,800 refugees have arrived in Ireland from Ukraine to date, according to the Taoiseach Micheál Martin, who has said the figure is increasing day by day. About 2/3 of those are living with family members who are already here. Around 600 of them are being put up in temporary hotel accommodation, a website which was established in association with the Red Cross, so Irish people could offer either homes or places within their homes for Ukrainians. Crashed last evening. There's been a big uptake. Did you sign up? Do you want to tell us why? 086 60 25,000, WhatsApps or text, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. Now, there are still a number of Irish people in the Ukraine who are trying to get out, and the way they get out is passing through checkpoints, you know. It could be a Russian checkpoint, it could be a Ukrainian checkpoint, and actions like the one we saw yesterday, and I don't think I'm being dramatic. You would just hope it wouldn't you hope it wouldn't compromise the route out of Ukraine for these Irish citizens, because a man who drove a lorry through the gates of the Russian embassy here has told the Kremlin, go truck yourself. You see, it's been seen as something that's very light-hearted, but we've seen how the Ukrainian ambassador to Ireland, not the Ukrainian ambassador, the Russian ambassador to Ireland, how he is speaking on Russian media, and he will probably end up highlighting this. And I just fear if that message gets through, it could not work well for some Irish citizens. But anyway, video captured Desmond Wisely behind the wheel to the South Dublin venue, which has been picketed since Russia waged war on Ukraine. The businessman from Ballinamore, County Leitrim, drove the lorry through the closed gates at around 1:30 p.m. yesterday, which is quite serious. He was clever in reversing it, because you'd fear what might have happened if he drove in head first. Wisely emerged to distribute photos of Russian atrocities in Ukraine, saying, "I just done this to create a safe corridor for the Russian ambassador to leave Ireland. I done it for this lady and her kids who were killed in Irpin. It really affected me last night, and I'm doing it for them." But as I say, I just hope, and it's unlikely it will, but I just hope it doesn't end up being damaging or counterintuitive. And a quick word on COVID. There's not much talk of it nowadays, of course, but Health Minister Stephen Donnelly has warned the number of people in hospital with COVID-19 is still high, with almost 20,000 positive tests recently recorded. He said the continuing high rates of infection were having a knock-on effect on hospitals, and of course we're feeling it more so than anywhere here in Donegal. Over the past 3 days, almost 20,000 COVID positive cases have been recorded by NPHET, and yesterday 808 infected patients were in hospital, 47 of those in ICU. Right, 086 60 25,000, WhatsApps and text to that number. Give us a call too if you want, 07491 25,000. We'll be back with more on the 9 till noon show after we take this short break.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Mortgages now available with a personalised service from your local and friendly credit union. Email mortgage@letterkennycu.ie.
With passengers boarding for the holiday of a lifetime, please go woo!
Highland Radio wants to send you on the holiday of a lifetime.
Worth €10,000.
Plus £5,000 spending money. Woo!
Get your ticket now at highlandradio.com. Answer the question and start packing. Start packing.
Draw takes place April 14th on the 9 till noon show.
Get your ticket early and enter a bonus draw for an extra week's holiday in Turkey.
Two for the price of one.
Start planning your ultimate getaway. Only on Highland Radio.
Better value lives at Dunnes Stores with big savings on your favourite brands. Start with selected Kellogg's cereals and Petit Filou 12 packs, both half price. Stock up on soft drinks. 7-Up, 7-Up Free, Pepsi Max and Club Orange, 9 and 12 can packs are all €5 each. Plus, with our 10 off 50 grocery voucher, you save even more. That means every trip to Dunnes Stores means better value. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next grocery shop of €50 or more.
Smith's Daleside offer a range of coarse and pelleted feed, including premium munchie ranges for lambs, designed to entice the lamb senses, increasing intakes and maximising performance. Call Smith's Daleside on 074 9171 300.
Remember a loved one with a personalised memorial, acknowledgement or wallet card from BizPrint using your choice of wording and background. Call in and speak to Catherine at BizPrint Port Road Letterkenny or call 9177955.
We all deserve a better work-life balance.
But not all of us have the space to work from home.
Connected Hubs brings together flexible workspaces across Ireland on one simple website.
So you can quickly and easily find a hub in your local area.
It's everything you want from an office without the lengthy commute.
Meaning you don't have to trade quality of life for quality of workspace.
Give yourself space. Visit connectedhubs.ie or download the app to discover a hub near you.
Connected Hubs is part of Our Rural Future, a Government of Ireland initiative.
Donegal Hearing Clinic, now open at Pierce Road, Letterkenny and Buncrana, now offering state-of-the-art rechargeable hearing aids free with your PRSI. Also pain-free microsuction wax removal services. Call 074 91 88470 or donegalhearingclinic.ie. Life sounds brilliant with Donegal Hearing Clinic.
Okay, as you heard as we were looking through the newspapers, and you would have, if you're on social media, I'm sure stumbled across some of the footage emanating out of Rossnala Beach. Well, Michael Daly's the founder of Daly's Donegal. He joins us on the programme now. Good morning to you, Michael.
Morning, Greg.
Good to speak to you. Right, so tell us what has been going on at Rossnala Beach then over the last while.
Well, let's just stick to the weekend because I kind of have my facts right, so to speak, on that. But basically, as you know, the weather, when it was cold, it was beautiful. And a remarkable number of people, considering the time of year, on the beach with families on Saturday and Sunday. My information is that the Gardaí very quickly were alerted to the fact that there were a number of people speeding and driving dangerously on the beach on Saturday and Sunday. And I was told basically that Gardaí took a zero-tolerance approach to that. And I suppose it's probably, I don't mean to get into the minutiae of this, but possibly one of the reasons why it was a bigger problem than usual, I was told, was because the tide was so far out and there was a very large area of sand, as you know the beach very well yourself. Anyway, to cut to the chase, no pun intended, basically my information is that on Saturday there were two drivers stopped and arrested for dangerous driving by Gardaí who were being very diligent on what was a remarkably busy beach for the time of year. And and on Sunday, the incident which you alluded to at the top of your intro occurred sometime in the afternoon, and there are, as far as I can make out, at least, and you mentioned this, at least certainly three different videos by people on the beach of two motorcycles making their way from, to those of you who may not be familiar with the beach, let's say the Sandhouse Hotel is on the centre. You go down the ramp and you turn left, and they're heading for the old exit, which is up close to the Friary. And they can be seen travelling at very high speed, and the nature of the bikes as well, the noise was the thing that struck me even on the video, and they're pursued by Gardaí, and the Gardaí are coming out of this with a lot of credit.
Can you describe how they managed to apprehend these people as best you can from the video footage?
I will. Basically, what you can see is these two bikes, they look, to my, I suppose, I'm not quite sure of this, but they almost have the shape of, do you know a trail bike, which is higher set than, say, a racing motorbike? That's what they look like, but that's neither here nor there. And the guys, two people on these bikes, fully clad in leathers and helmets, moving swiftly across the beach. It's a 3.5 mile long beach. That section of it's about, I would say, is very close to 1,000 yards. So, anyway, they're moving across the beach, and you can hear in the distance behind them the siren of, it turns out to be a guard jeep. And what I thought was interesting, while the two bikes were moving very, very quickly, the guard jeep was moving gingerly enough. It certainly wasn't moving at speed. And again, you learn a lot when you kind of ask about these things, but that was to be careful, and because there were small children on the beach and everything else, and the guards couldn't do what we might call a hot pursuit because they didn't want a situation that wasn't good to turn into something that was a lot worse. Anyway, the two bikes head up what I would call the old ramp, heading for the Friary direction, and then you become aware that there is another Garda jeep at the top blocking the road. The bikes stop. One of the motorcyclists manages to turn his bike and comes back down very, very swiftly. And in fact, one of the people videoing on the beach, one of the videos which went viral, that motorcyclist went very close to him and went past him. We don't see that motorcyclist after that. But the second chap on a bike, he tries to turn his bike and he falls off it. A Garda who's approaching from the Friary side, one of a number, goes to him, and if you look very carefully, it seems to me that there's some sort of contact between them, and the motorcyclist, who is now on foot, fully clad in the leathers and the helmet, runs down the slipway again and onto the beach. Again, I'm estimating here, he covers maybe 150 yards. One Garda is in pursuit, and two Gardaí get out of the Garda jeep, which have been following, not going that fast, and run towards this man. But the Garda who chased him from the slipway, let's say, and that's a fair distance, and he's fully clad as well, obviously, in all the Garda gear, he does very well in a very short space of time to make up to this guy, and he brings him down by catching his arm, and the motorcyclist then falls to the ground. And the Garda basically doesn't arrest the other two Gardaí come in to the video picture.
Nothing wrong with his cardio anyway.
Say again?
Nothing wrong with that Garda's cardio fitness.
Oh, super fit.
Yeah.
Super
and I
fit.
suppose there's a few ways of looking at this, Michael. Obviously, people would go, this is what they want. You're videoing them, blah, 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 blah. But I think this demonstrates very clearly, in a way words possibly couldn't, that Gardaí aren't going to accept this type of behaviour on that beach.
Yeah, and you have covered this in the past, because I've been listening to you. Like, there's a big issue with traffic on that beach. And initially, when I saw this video and the various other videos, you could see from the reactions of people initially it was well done. But then it was interesting, maybe after about 90 minutes, the bigger questions started to arise from people making comments on that, in relation to access to the beach for traffic. Now, the thought that occurred to me was, you can have all the restrictions you want on the beach, but if two people on motorbikes want to come down onto the beach at the moment, anyway, they'll get to it. So that's the wider question. And the one thing, some people, I'm not saying, and I suppose to an extent myself, it was, and I'm sort of showing my age here now, it was very almost like Starsky and Hutch type stuff, and I sort of, in an Irish local context, I've never seen a Garda chase like that. I've seen Garda cars following people, but I've never seen the whole thing sort of almost played out in brackets on television. And there's almost people going, wow, isn't that amazing? But there is a very serious element to this. And without wanting to prejudice anything, there are arrests made. There certainly is an arrest made in relation to this. And that person, I understand, will appear in court on Friday. I'm not sure how many charges it's a male he will face. So I suppose to answer your question, it does raise bigger issues.
Michael, listen, thank you so much for that, for painting that picture with your words for us so well. I appreciate it greatly. Thank you.
Not at all. Thank you.
Michael Daly there, founder of Daly's Donegal. That is a situation where the guards were on scene and nipped in the bud. There's other situations where the reaction isn't quite so quick. Margaret joins us now. Hi, Margaret.
Hello, Greg. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, and good morning to you. Right, so you were out at Straggle in Buncrana, were you?
Straggle, yes.
Straggle, I beg your pardon, sorry. Go.
No, it's free access, and there are very few people down. But as far as I can see, there are an awful lot of northerners. Well, they have a right to go to the beaches, but there are a caravan park up in the, farther up the road on the other side of the T-junction. And a couple of days, there were guys down there acting a maggot, flying over and back, doing bumpies, circling around the beach. And I thought, oh my God. I said to my partner, I said, geez, I think that boy's bogged, for if going round and round and round, all of a sudden he just stopped and we go golf.
Was it like in a buggy he was on, like a quad or motorbike?
No. The golf, Volkswagen Golf, we small yacht.
Right, yes, I get you, yeah.
And the other boy had a car like a Bora. It mightn't have been a Bora, but it's, the shape of a Bora.
Mm-hmm.
He was flying over and back, and there were a girl with a big, she was a kind of Alsatian dog, and, we're like piggy in the middle. We were with our dogs on one side, and she was on the other side, and we're flying over and back. So I put my hand in my pocket, I pointed to them as if to say, now boy, you're nabbed now, I'm going to phone the guards.
Yeah.
And when I put my hand in my pocket to take out my phone, the two guys cleared off. Now, we left shortly after it, and there was a person there with a horse, one other day with horses, and they would not give us, stand aside till our off pass, and we had to follow them way up the road till they went back up to the T-junction.
This is kind of like a separate issue, though, isn't it? This is another annoyance
two
of yours.
different issues.
Yeah, okay.
It's not fair, They get on about dogs and every other people messing, but they don't give out about horses. They don't give out about idiots flying recklessly on the beach. And there has to be a rule for everybody.
Yeah, and why didn't you call the guards?
Well, my partner says, leave it, like they're northerners, and you don't know what they'll do to our van,
Well, now, come here. We can't make sweeping statements that about...
But if it happens again, I will call the guards.
Right, okay.
More likely. But the weather doesn't say it's going to be good this evening, so I doubt we'll very much if we'll get to the beach today.
Right, okay. Well, there's plenty of people living in Donegal driving northern registered vehicles too. So, listen, Margaret, you're saying something should be done about it. We appreciate you sharing the story from Straggle Beach. Thank you very much indeed. 086 60 25,000. WhatsApps and texts. Now, do you remember last week, we were talking about the railway crane that was attached to a pier in Faughan. And I think it was generally accepted that the pier was falling into disrepair. The crane had to be removed. And I think that it would have been expected, perhaps, that because this is of historical significance, that the railway crane would be located, if not in Faughan, at least in the Inishowen area. But lo and behold, it turned up in Donegal town. And nothing wrong with that, of course. Donegal town, part of the county, beautiful part of the world as well. But, this is a piece of history associated primarily with Faughan and to the wider Inishowen area. So I committed at that time, we did, me and Caroline, we're a team here, to contact Donegal County Council, and we did so to find out what the story was. And they issued this response. It reads as follows. The crane was removed from the wooden pier at Faughan on concerns that it could, at one point or any point, fall from the dilapidated structure and taken to the piers and harbours depot in Burton Port. Donegal Tidy Towns Committee subsequently wrote to Donegal County Council and asked if they could restore the crane and put it on display at the town pier, and identified similar restoration projects they had completed in the area in recent years. Donegal County Council considered the request in regard to the suitability of the proposed location for public safety prior to granting approval. So it wasn't the council, seemingly, that come up with this idea. Donegal Tidy Towns, their committee said, oi oi, can we have that railway crane? We'll do it up and locate it on the pier. And that's what they did. Now, that's good and fair play, because maybe I presume the Donegal Tidy Towns Committee might have feared that this could have gone into disrepute and be lost to the, a scrapyard or something like that there. But I wonder, was anyone maybe to do with the historical societies in Inishowen, did they say, look, this is the offer we have, can you do the same? Or have you any proposals? I don't know. But anyway, that's the story to that, and it seems to be a fait accompli.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages with life cover provided at no additional cost. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Dear Daniel, ever since you burst out of Donegal and onto the music scene, I've been your biggest fan. And when you came to visit, I could have died. And when you offered to fix my boiler, I could have died, Daniel, because you're not a registered gas installer. I'm returning all your albums and my rhinestone-studded I Love Daniel jacket. Goodbye forever, from Mary. P.S. Daniel, you can find your local registered gas installer at rgii.ie.
There's amazing deals every week at Watson Hire in Letterkenny. Great specials in tools, hardware and homeware. If you're a tradesperson or you're doing a one-off job, you'll find everything from power tools to hand tools and paint to work clothing. There's also loads of great present ideas with the Christmas Club now open. For great weekly deals and a great selection, visit Watson Hire at Kiltoy, Letterkenny. For more information, visit the Facebook page or see watsonhire.ie.
Do you need a little extra help staying in your home? At Bluebird Care, we offer a wide variety of QMark-approved personalised home care services across Donegal. And our fully trained and committed staff will always meet your care needs with kindness, compassion and dignity. To get your personal home care assessment plan, visit bluebirdcare.ie or call our care team today on 07491 29562 and bring care home.
Tune into Highland Radio Daily for all the news, sport and stories that matter from across the Northwest.
You can also see more of it online at highlandradio.com.
Or see Highland on social media, Facebook, TikTok and Instagram.
Live streams, videos, playbacks and all the latest news and sport as it happens.
It's all on Highland's New Look website at highlandradio.com.
Hear it on Highland, see it on Highland every day.
And you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show, and we're going to stay really with, I suppose, the actions of others, the behaviours of others in motor-propelled vehicles and the issues it's having. Councillor Michael McClafferty joins us. Hiya, Councillor.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm fine. Good to have you on the show. Right, okay, speeding through Creasla, what's going on here?
Yeah, Greg, over the last while, it's become more noticeable that vehicles, I suppose, to be fair, more people unknown to Creasla are going through Creasla town, Creasla village very fast. We had an incident there last week where a resident was almost knocked down. Obviously, as you're aware there, Creasla town itself, to be fair, is a small village. It's an old style village as such, as there are many about, but it's one of the ones locally here anyway. And it's very congested as such due to the style of it. And plus, towards the top of the town, if you like, the Letterkenny side of the town is more narrower than the Dunfanny side of the town.
But it kind of does lend itself to speed.
Speed is, yes.
You know, it kind of has,
yeah.
I mean, obviously, other than when it's busy, but there's nothing really there to sort of, you're relying solely on the driver to say, okay, this is a built-up area, I need to slow down. There's nothing there naturally, I think, that sort of slows the driver.
No, there's not, no, Greg. And to be fair, like, speed is the issue. Speed is the issue, is a problem here. It's just we're appealing to people who aren't aware of the town, the layout of the town, to please slow down coming into it or exiting it, because it's a problem that's ongoing. I say this last while, it's getting worse, and there's a genuine fear there that something's going to happen, and none of us want that to be the case, because you have two schools slap bang in the middle of the town, you have various other establishments there, businesses, so on. church there as well to note as well, which is obviously quite frequented on a daily basis as well at different times. And it is a situation that we need to get addressed here before things escalate any worse than what they are. Now, in fairness to the council, they have secured money at the minute now to get a plans done of a survey for part of the town and around the to see what can be done around the centre of the town, at least anyway. That may be a help, but saying that itself, that's going to be some time off. It could be a good while before that actually.
Do you think
is taken.
They need to look at traffic calming measures? Now, it's quite difficult because the traffic through there, for example, there'd be a lot of towed caravans and what have you as well. So in terms of speed ramps and all that type of stuff, I don't know how that would play out. But is there a want in the town that you can determine for, the likes of ramps or something to slow the traffic down if they're not going to listen to appeals?
Yeah, I've been asked for ramps several times. I've been asked for pedestrianised crossings as well a few times there, or something similar, pelican crossing either. But this type of thing has been asked for even as of late yesterday morning, last Friday there, over the weekend. Prior to that, sporadic times as well. Both in person, face-to-face messages, so on. It's all happening there. The problem is, as I experienced from before, from other towns, like for example, Dunfanny would be another town of interest. Loughnure would be as well, as a colleague of mine brings up regular there as well. Possibly Falciara too, but there's more crossing points. It doesn't seem to be as bad. But the situation is the TAI are very reluctant to give ramps on the N56. It all falls down on the N56, Greg. The main drag is, and rightly so as you put it, for the reasons you said, main drag of vehicles and so on, and they're very reluctant to do that. So we'll see now what comes out of this new plan.
Yeah, I don't think speed ramps, I mean, it depends where they are, but people drive around them.
I know.
People try to do anything they can to get to, and people actually speed between the ramps as well too, which I think some of us would be guilty of. So ramps aren't the silver bullet to this.
They're not the silver bullet.
I just don't understand why we don't have major signage. Those signs that tell you your speed. Like a large sign in the middle of Creaslar that whatever the speed limit is, if it starts flashing telling you to slow down, that type of stuff, I think is the most effective, and it's not intrusive at all. But we don't seem to do it an awful lot. They run off solar power. You put them in once, and it flashes telling people, "Would you please bloody slow down?" Yeah, we don't even do that. That's just basic stuff. We jump straight into talking about ramps and all that kind of stuff. Not you, because I brought the ramps up. I'm aware of that. But let's just put in these signs that tell motorists what speed they're doing and tell them to slow down.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a valid point. As I say, like going forward, it's something that will have to be looked at in the immediate future as best as possible with the council and so on.
The centre of every town that has issues with speeding traffic through.
Yeah.
Should tell them to slow down. Even if the speed limit's 50, flash and say what speed you're doing. Recommend 30. I don't know how that would work, but there has to be a way that actually addresses the problem. It will change some driver behaviour. Get the guards in there now and again with one of their guns. I'm sure they can spare the time here or there. A little bit of enforcement and the signs. At least we're being seen to be doing something, and it's going to have an effect.
Yeah, that's very true. It is all very through all these options. I'm sure the council will take all these options on board, and even at present they are looking at different options or considering different options that may be available. But I think the key is there, what you touched on there, it is basically in every town, not just Creaslar, any other town come to it, it's down to driver behaviour, and that's where we all need to focus on.
But you have to, before you change behaviour, you have to make sure that people know what the story is, and that's what I'm saying. That's why, in your face signage might be able to do that. I don't know, but I feel like I'll be coming to work in a hover car, running off hydropower before we actually do anything about this. We're talking about it and we're talking about it and we're talking about it. That's if I'm still alive. And I just think it's action that's required now.
Well, I agree totally with you. I feel the same as you, but I suppose this gives people's frustrations up as well. We go around in circles talking about it and they don't see enough action on the ground or action at all, and this gets people annoyed and gets people frustrated and mad, and I fully appreciate that. But a lot of the time, Greg, as you're well aware, this is out of our hands. It's the powers that be that need to come in here and just say, okay guys, give whatever money required to Donegal County Council, put in flashing lights, put in whatever other infrastructure possibly needed that's going to help. Start with that. Sometimes that's easier than said to get, as you know. And this is where, unfortunately, we're in the sticking point at the minute. But I hope going forward, the fact that some money at least has been granted to start a survey and possible works through time, that may alleviate things a bit.
I just feel that it's like whack-a-mole, where we're identifying little problems in different areas, we try and fix it, then we move to the next one. Why can't we have take a proactive approach and say, right, there's clearly a problem in a number of towns. People listening all over the region here will say, that's the same in our place, that's the same in our place. Rather than waiting for a councillor to raise it, why can't we be a bit more proactive? A caller says, what's your views on the double yellow lines in Dunfanaghy being ignored before the summer and full traffic hits the town? Can we do something or get something done about it? Are you familiar with the issue of illegal parking, what that caller seems to describe in Dunfanaghy?
Greg, I'm familiar with the issue, but look, it's the same issue in every town. You can't have guarantee about the place.
Well, parking. Just to have someone go in there and a traffic warden, no?
Greg, again, if we got a traffic warden tomorrow morning, your lanes will be hopping in because it's traffic warden in Dunfanaghy.
Well, you'd be surprised. I'll tell you, you'd be surprised.
The
majority of people, even if we had one traffic warden that could be in any one of these towns at any given time, I think the vast majority of people, if the road is laid out correctly, have no issue with enforcement of illegal parking. I don't think so. I don't think. Maybe sometimes there's issues with the attitudes of traffic wardens. I don't know, but the basic premise of preventing illegal parking, I don't think there's a massive problem with that, is there?
It's not a massive problem because people may jump on a double yellow lane for 10 minutes or something, or less, running the shop, running the message to whatever business, etc. It's very, very, very hard to police it. Very hard to police it. And then the other problem is too, even if, for example, if the people that are concerned wish to take a photo of whatever illegal parked yacht, will they go to the bother of them, go to the guard station and report and make an official complaint? This is where things fall down as well. Possibly they won't. So, everybody needs to play their part. Traffic warden, that I have no problem with. Look, it's a valid enough suggestion. It's a valid suggestion even to possibly have a mobile traffic warden floating between several towns.
That's it. And you don't know when they're going to be there. I mean, obviously, you'll have your Facebook pages letting people know when they are, but it just sends out a message that it's not a free-for-all. It's not a free-for-all in a particular town. Okay, listen, thank you very much for that. Keep us updated if there's any progress. Okay, that was Councillor Michael McClafferty there, concerned about speeding through Creaslap, but as I was expecting, people saying, look, it's not just there, it's everywhere. The towns all over Donegal are the same, says this caller. Kilmacrennan is the exact same. It's an accident waiting to happen. Heavy vehicles and speeding cars race through the town, and again, it's another type of a town that there's no natural... you're relying on drivers to be responsible because there's nothing naturally there to slow the traffic down as such. Hi, can you ask Greg, is there anything being done about the traffic passing Ardban in Muff coming from Letterkenny side and out of Muff town? It's only a matter of time before someone is killed. The cars and vans and lorries are flying there. Children walking on the footpath and the traffic is flying past them. No speed limit. Okay, well... that's the first I've heard of this for a while. Do you share concerns as it relates to traffic passing Ardban and Muff? 086 60 25 000. Get involved in the conversations. Right. Hi, Greg. Our government pledged €20 million to Ukraine on Friday night on the Late Late Show, and yet our home services, hospital nurses are on their knees. I fully support Ukraine, but how can they come up with 20 million so quickly? Thank you. Well, it's just there. If nothing will ever be done, if we're waiting for every problem in this country to be fixed, and there are lots and lots of problems, we would never help anyone else or never have any role in the wider picture of things to offer assistance or help. I presume there is a budget that is available, a humanitarian budget that they allocate all money to each year, and it's used for these services. Would that 20 million, if you switched into the problem that you highlighted, would it address the problem into the long term? Probably not. Good morning. Is it just me, or are people finding it impossible to get through to other businesses? Spent between 35 minutes trying to reach Air and AIB with no avail. Kept getting the usual message. All our operators are busy. Are people still working remotely? It would drive you doolally. I don't know, but if you ring any of those businesses, say for instance, and you want to take out a contract with them, the phone's answered straight away. I'm not referencing those two businesses directly, but if the call is in the advantage of the business, the phones get answered very, very quickly. But if it's maybe an annoying customer inquiry or a problem with the service, it can be a little more difficult, to say the least, in terms of getting through. It's an interesting one to find out how they split their staff amongst those calls.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
The award-winning Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic Udor offers the most advanced skincare treatments for men and women, treating conditions such as acne, skin tags, rosacea and scarring. As a qualified aesthetics practitioner, Mary Ferry offers a range of anti-aging treatments including dermal fillers, thread lifts, profilo, skin boosters, microneedling and LED light therapy. Hair and makeup also available. Download the Genesis Salon app today or call 07495 32575.
This is the new Toyota Yaris Cross, a new kind of SUV, a new point of view, new compact style, new spacious feel, and exclusively self-charging hybrid. The right choice for today. Get a new perspective with the Yaris Cross self-charging hybrid. Available now at Kelly's Toyota, Port Road, Letterkenny, or Drumby, Mount Charles. You'll never take a wrong turn with Toyota. Built for a better world.
Big plans won't mean big repayments with a home improvement loan from Inishowen Credit Union. Whether you're converting the attic, changing the kitchen or doing work to the garden, talk to us today. With rates starting from 6.18 APR, no hidden fees or charges and fast loan decisions, we have the perfect loan for you. Apply online at inishowencu.ie or call us on 93-61017. Membership of Inishowen Credit Union is open to anyone who lives or works in the Inishowen Peninsula. All loans are subject to approval. Terms and conditions apply. Inishowen Credit Union is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Derg Valley Care Castle Derg is offering free programmes this month. Menopause awareness on Thursday the 10th from 2 to 5 p.m. Mindfulness on Wednesday evenings and painting to improve your well-being on Monday evenings. To book, call Derg Valley Care Castle Derg.
This March we reflect how COVID has changed death and bereavement in Ireland. Together we grieve. Irish Hospice Foundation Bereavement Support Line is open for all of us who are grieving. Free phone 1800 80 70 77 to talk to someone in confidence and for a shoulder to lean on.
Now, Paul Mckinney is Operations Manager with the Irish Blood Transfusion Board. He joins us now. Hi, Paul. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Fantastic, thank you. Before we talk about this appeal for people to donate, and I think they're always really good up in this part of the country, as they are everywhere. What are supplies like at the moment? It's always really, I presume you're always to some extent operating on the edge. But what is the overall picture nationally?
Yeah, well, you're right. We are actually always seem to be operating on the edge. We try to hold 7 days blood across all the blood groups. That's our target. As of this morning, we're sitting on 4.2 days overall, which is much lower than we would like. And it's low across all the groups. For example, O positive, which is the most common blood group in Ireland, is only 3.8 days. O negative, which is the universal blood group, is only 2.8 days. So it's tight, and that's why we're making this appeal on the station.
So talk to me about how this blood is used, because sometimes maybe we don't, not you now, me and other presenters don't focus enough on this, that we just talk about give blood, and I think if you've received it or if you give it, you know all about it. But there's a big tranche of society out there, I think, that probably maybe we don't make the connection. So how does it work? What, in terms of who it helps, how it helps, can you explain that side of things for us briefly?
Yeah, it's a very good point, because actually only 3% of those eligible to give blood in the country actually do donate. So it's actually a very small percentage of people who can donate who do. And when you consider that, blood transfusions are used for newborn babies, obstetric emergencies, for cancer patients. It's obviously, a lot of people think road traffic accidents, but actually road traffic accidents is only a very small part of it. And heart operations, hip operations, every time there's an operation goes on in a hospital, there has to be blood at the very least available just in case. So we like to think of blood as being the oil for the hospital engine, and without the oil, very topical these days, unfortunately, without the oil, hospitals will struggle doing the amount of operations, etc., procedures that they need to at the moment.
Okay, if you're one of those 97% listening, talk to me about what happens if you roll up to Jackson's Hotel. You have never donated for the first time and you're eligible to do so. What happens on the visit? Talk to me about the needles and stuff, things that might put people off.
Well, first of all, we do ask you to make an appointment. Since the pandemic started, we've introduced an appointment system for obvious reasons. In the past, we used to have walk-in clinics, but with the social distancing rules, which are much relaxed now. But we do ask people to make an appointment, and you can do that by ringing our 1800-731-137 number. What we would ask is that you, before you do, go onto our website, giveblood.ie. We have a little eligibility quiz, very short quiz. It takes you through it, and you will know whether or not you're actually able to donate this time or not. If you're a new donor, you can also register your interest, and there's a process that we go through in terms of getting in touch with a new donor, explaining to them what the procedure is. The actual process, if you're a new donor, you have to go through an extended interview. It's a slightly longer process, but once you get through all of that, it takes about 1 to 2 hours to go through the whole process. We ask you to attend, fill in a health and lifestyle questionnaire. We measure your hemoglobin. And if all of that is good, we take you through and the donation process. Yes, there are needles. Yes, people are a little bit wary of the needles, but trust me, our phlebotomists are very skilled, and you hardly notice it. So the donation takes place. It takes about 15 minutes. We take in old money a pint of your precious blood, or 510 mils. Process is finished. We bring you to our tea station, give you a cup of tea, bag of crisps, or a biscuit, whatever you want, and we keep an eye on you for a few minutes, make sure you're fine, and then that's it. And then, your blood is taken back to the National Blood Centre in Dublin. It's processed, it's tested, and when it's issued to a hospital, we send a text to the donor telling them your donation has been donated to a particular hospital at a particular time, particular date. Thank you very much for saving a life.
Right, so
very powerful.
You see the importance of that 15 minutes, obviously, once you've gone through the other stuff, particularly for the first time. Right, so if that's something that you'd like to get involved in, and I think sometimes we want to make a difference and we want to help others, but maybe we don't have the resources to do so, or we don't know how to do it. I mean, if you want to make a difference to another person, what a way to do it. You can do it this way. Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, and as I say, and it can scratch that itch that you might have about helping people. Right, okay, so the Blood Transfusion Board are seeking donations in Ballybofey all this week, Tuesday, today, Wednesday and Thursday. They're in Jackson's Hotel between 3 and 5 p.m. and 7 and 9:30 p.m. And it's important, I suppose, because you're always on the edge to some extent. You'll be looking forward to the likes of the double bank holiday. Everyone's delighted about that. But for you and for your team, you're right, okay, that's going to be, we're going to have to try and accommodate for that.
You're absolutely right, Greg. I hate bank holidays. I hate double bank holidays because we're actually losing a full day's collections on Thursday. The first Thursday of the bank holiday. So it's a real stress test for us. And that's why we're making an appeal. And you absolutely made a very important part right at the start of the interview. People in Donegal are incredible. They are very loyal donors. And because we're there for the week, it's really important that our appointments are full. I would ask you again, please ring the number 1800-731-137. Do the eligibility test, giveblood.ie before you do it, and please support us because it's so important. And as you said quite correctly, really important for the next week or two.
All right, listen, take care of yourself. Thanks, Paul. I appreciate it. Paul Kinney, Operations Manager with the Irish Blood Transfusion Board. Sinead, you heard a passing comment from an earlier caller talking about horses on the road from Stragill Beach, not happy for being caught up behind them. What do you think of her comments?
Morning, Greg. Yeah, I just think they're a bit inconsiderate, possibly quite ignorant, considering that, most drivers don't really have an awareness of what it takes to sit on a horse's back with little to no protection. And you've got all these big vehicles revving and speeding past you. So yeah, I just sent in a comment to say that, to challenge that. What I would like to do is, that woman who's complaining about horses holding her back slightly, does the same comment apply to the big tractors? I'll bet you it doesn't.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I'm driving out of a beach, okay? I've had a beautiful, relaxing time there, hopefully. Filled my lungs with fresh air. I should feel so happy and relaxed. I should get into my car and I'm pulling out of Straggle Beach saying, look, that was beautiful. If I start getting stressed out now because I'm a couple of minutes behind a horse, it's kind of, I don't think I've got the real benefits of it. I mean, we all have to share this space.
Exactly.
And we just need to just loosen that grip slightly on the steering wheel and just relax.
Exactly. I mean, if you're coming from the beach, surely you should be in the mind frame. And yes, I get that there was an incident on the beach, but the common denominator here is people in cars. So the people in cars were doing the harm on the beach, or the potential harm on the beach. It's people in cars who can be doing the potential harm to the horse riders and the horses as well. So, to complain about, on one side, there are cars going too fast, and then to come up the road and say, oh, but the horses
are too slow.
You're the person in the car that's going very fast. You know what I mean?
The cars are too fast and the horses are too slow. That's I know it's a serious issue, Sinead, but when you think about it,
when you think rider safety is really, really serious.
It's like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. You want the porridge just right. Cars and horses going up the speed to suit the person, but also too, like, as someone, you ride horses, Sinead, yeah?
I do.
Right, so you would come across people's attitude to someone on a horse and someone on their back. It wouldn't just be card. I mean, do you come across do you have different sort of interactions with people where I think you use the phrase act in the maggot?
Yeah, well, I mean, I use the phrase act in the maggot because that's the phrase that the woman herself used about act in the maggot on the beach. But yeah, you do get people acting the maggot. They're coming up behind horses, they're revving because they want to see. And now, thankfully, it is getting less. But, they're revving up behind horses because they want to see the horse dance on the road. And what they don't realise is that horse is just about, you're doing your very best, you're working really hard to keep that horse in control. Because if that horse gets out of control, horses are flight animals. So they're going to, if they spook, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get the horse to spook. Mm-hmm. So the danger is that, look, essentially, you're on a tarmac road with very little protection.
Yeah, and there's always quite an important relationship between the horse and its rider in terms of control, and that can be lost really quite quickly.
Very quickly, very, very quickly. Things can happen in a split second whenever you're horse riding, but, especially on roads, people doing that, behaving that kind of way. As I said, it is getting less, but it does still happen, unfortunately. Right. People driving too close and all of that. But what I would say is, the next person who wants to complain about horses on the roads, what I would like them to do is contact me and spend an hour on the roads on a horse. And I bet you any money they will change their mind very, very quickly.
Sinead, lovely to speak to you. Keep enjoying your riding. Thanks so very much indeed. It is the 9 till noon show here in Highland Radio. We'll be back with more after the news and obituary notes. So stay tuned.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Choosing the perfect stove is a big decision. Here at Charles Bunner & Sons Ballybuffet, we are one of Ireland's leading dealers in stoves and ranges in a variety of styles and sizes at exceptional prices. And with our professional advice, we're sure we'll find the perfect one just for you. So call 074 9131 700 or visit thestovestore.ie.
At Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, we are now operating out of one new state-of-the-art showroom in Donegal Town. And we invite you to visit our new 5,000 square foot Donegal Town showroom to discover the latest eye-catching designs. Remember, at Cherrymore, you're dealing directly with the manufacturer, which means high-quality kitchens at factory prices. Start planning your dream kitchen or bedroom by calling Cherrymore on 074 9725 822. Cherrymore, 25 years delivering value, quality and service all over Ireland.
It's been described as the best steak promotion in Donegal, and it continues every Saturday at Kelly's Diner in Letterkenny. For just €11, you get a succulent 8-ounce Irish sirloin steak, cooked to order and served with all the trimmings, including a choice of different sauces. It's available from 3 every Saturday, so why not treat yourself this weekend in Kelly's award-winning diner at Mountain Top, Letterkenny.
As we move into spring, it's time that we look after what is precious to us. Are you struggling with your hearing? Your hearing is an essential part of your everyday living. Hearing is our social sense and connects you to friends and family. At Connect Hearing, we are here for you with our clinics at Courtyard Shopping Centre, Letterkenny, and Joyce's Chiropody Clinic in Dunlow. Our centres are open Monday to Friday, where you can avail of our hearing test, wax removal and repair services. Connect Hearing, connecting you to life.
Hello, Grace. Where are you heading?
Down to Made to Measure Fireplaces in Creasla.
Made to Measure Fireplaces? Didn't you just buy a fireplace there?
Yeah, but I'm going now to pick my kitchen worktop.
Create the kitchen and living room of your dreams at Made to Measure Fireplaces and Granite Worktops. They've been in business for over 40 years. So for help choosing granite or quartz for your worktop, fireplace or stove, visit the Made to Measure showroom at Cashel, Creasla, or see mtmfireplaces.com or on Facebook.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, I'm Michaela Clark with the news at 10 o'clock. The Taoiseach says the Ukrainian crisis means things here will be tough for a while. Households are already facing spiralling fuel bills, while there are concerns about possible food shortages, and the state will have to provide financial support for Ukrainian refugees who come here. Leo Varadkar says no one was expecting a war in Europe.
We didn't think so quickly after the pandemic that we'd face into another crisis, but we are. We're seeing now a war in Europe, and that is going to have an impact in terms of refugees coming here. It's going to have an economic impact as well. But when I think about what Ireland's got through and has had to get through in the last 10 years, you know, we had a global financial crisis, we'd the Troika, we'd the bailout, we then had Brexit, we then had a pandemic, now we've another crisis. We'll deal with it. You know, things will be okay in the end, but it's going to be tough for a while.
Meanwhile, over 4,000 people in Ireland have so far offered a spare room or vacant property for Ukrainian refugees. The figure stood at 180 last Friday. More than 1.7 million people have fled Ukraine in the past 2 weeks since Russia's invasion. The Irish Red Cross is encouraging people to pledge offers of accommodation, with Ireland expected to take in around 100,000 refugees. Secretary-General of the Irish Red Cross, Liam O'Dwyer, says those who pledge accommodation will receive a follow-up phone call.
Generally, a property, be it shared or standalone, is given to the refugee for 6 months to a year. And normally that's to give the refugee time to settle into the country and to make their own move then for their own accommodation longer term.
Gardaí have been praised for their actions following a dramatic chase on Rosnila Beach on Sunday. Video footage of an incident involving two motorcyclists speeding across the busy beach has been circulated widely on social media. One of the motorcyclists was eventually apprehended by a Gardaí who gave chase on foot after the motorcyclist fell off his bike. One of the motorcyclists has been arrested and is due to appear in court. Michael Daly of Daly's Donegal on the 9 till noon show outlined what unfolded on Sunday afternoon.
Motorcycles making their way from the Sandhouse Hotel is on the centre. You go down the ramp and you turn left, and they're heading for the old exit, which is up close to the Friary. And they can be seen travelling at very high speed, and the nature of the bikes as well, the noise was the thing that struck me even on the video, and they're pursued by Gardaí, and the Gardaí are coming out of this with a lot of credit.
TDs and senators will today hear about the future of Ireland's railway network and what must be done to improve it. The Oireachtas Transport Committee will hear submissions to the All-Ireland Rail Review later, including proposals for a Western Railway corridor. People across the island expressed interest and enthusiasm in a recent public consultation about an all-island rail review. One of the proposals to be considered would be the restoration of a rail network within County Donegal, linking it to the rest of Ireland's rail network. Peter Feeney from lobby group West on Track backs the idea of extending rail across the country.
We need it now. We need it to connect Galway to its hinterland, to the north. Galway is the regional capital. It's the go-to place for people in the west for education, for health, for employment. We need it, and we need it now.
And the Letterkenny Milford Municipal District will be told today that a comprehensive resurfacing programme is needed along the length of Letterkenny's High Road from the traffic lights at the junction with Main Street right up to the hospital roundabout. The issue is being raised by Cathaoirleach Jimmy Kavanagh, who says there are a number of roads in the urban area which are in need of repairs. However, he says the high road needs to be prioritised.
There's a lot of holes in it. It's very uneven, and I think it definitely needs attention again. It's a problem, I think, in general with the roads around the town. They need attention and they need more funding. It's been discussed many, many times before, but I think that, the town roads have suffered since the town council was disbanded, and that's another example. But I think it badly needs attention. It's leading up to the hospital. It's a very, very busy road, and there's so much traffic on it, and an awful lot of people are complaining about it.
Weather now, a band of rain will move in this morning and afternoon with some heavy falls leading to localised flooding. Windy today with strong to near gale force and gusty southeasterly winds. Highest temperatures of 7 to 10 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with an update again at 11 o'clock. Until then, good morning. The obituary notices for this Tuesday morning, March the 7th. The death has taken place of John Allison Tullynavan Redcastle. John's remains are reposing at the home of his brother Hayslip and sister-in-law Lita, Woodbrook House, Carrickmacquigley, Redcastle. Family and close friends welcome. Funeral service there tomorrow afternoon at 1:30, followed by burial in the family plot in Clark Burial Ground, Redcastle. Family flowers only, donations if desired, to the Carndonagh Community Hospital Patients Comfort Fund, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Hugh Hannigan, 4 Chestnut Grove, Ramelton. Remains will arrive at St Mary's Church, Ramelton today at 5 o'clock for rosary and to repose overnight. Requiem Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, burial afterwards in Killydonnell Cemetery, Ramelton. Funeral Mass and Rosary can be viewed on churchservices.tv. The death has taken place of Paddy Holmes, 10 Trinity Court, Newton Cunningham, and formerly of Drumnahoe, Letterkenny. Paddy's remains will repose at the Eternal Light Chapel of Rest, Mountaintop, Letterkenny, this evening from 5:30 until 7 o'clock, followed by removal to St Columbus Church, Drumnahoe, to repose overnight. Requiem Mass there tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, with interment afterwards in the adjoining churchyard. Family flowers only please, donations in lieu of flowers if desired, to Trinity Court Independent Living, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Annie Kerr, 16 Dr Mckinney Road, Letterkenny. Remains reposing at her late residence. Removal from her late residence tomorrow afternoon at 1:30, going to Trinity Presbyterian Church for funeral service at 2 o'clock, followed by burial in New Lex Cemetery. Family flowers only, donations in lieu of desired, to St Vincent de Paul, care of any family member or Jim McGlynn, funeral director. The death has taken place of John Victor Kilpatrick, Maharanapan Convoy. His remains will repose at his late residence from today, house private at the request of the deceased. Funeral from there at 1:15 on Thursday afternoon for 2 o'clock funeral service in St Ninian's Church Convoy, followed by burial in the family plot in the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only please, donations if desired to Cree Heart and Stroke Charity Galway and St Ninian's Parish Church Funds, care of any family member or Terence McClintock, funeral director. The death has taken place of Peter Ward, late of 9 Castlemurray, Strabane. His remains are reposing at his daughter Aileen Mullins' home. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 9:25 for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Melmount at 10 o'clock, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Donations in lieu of flowers please to Melmount Manor Residents Comfort Fund, care of Quigley Funeral Directors. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live at melmountparish.com. The death has occurred of Bridget Doherty, formerly of Rosemount, Kilmacrennan, reposing at her daughter Geraldine Flood's home, Carnassal, Termon, Letterkenny. Rosary both nights at 9 o'clock. Funeral from there at 10:30 on Thursday morning for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Columbus Church, Kilmacrennan, followed by burial in the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only please, donations if desired to RSE Donald Nursing Home Patients Comfort Fund, care of Dunleavy Funeral Directors. The death has taken place of Kay Devaney, Douche, Newton Cunningham, house strictly private at the request of the deceased. Funeral tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock in All Saints Parish Church, Newton Cunningham, with burial afterwards in the family plot. Donations, if desired, to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member. The death has occurred of Michael Duddy, Madava Lechermack Award. His remains are reposing at his home. Funeral mass tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock in St Bridget's Church, Lechermack Award, with interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. House private from 11 o'clock tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. The death has taken place of Vincent McLaughlin, Drummaville, Lekamy. Vincent's remains are reposing at his home. House private to family and close friends, please. Vincent's funeral mass will take place tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock in St Mary's Church at Boken Kildaff, followed by burial in the adjoining graveyard. Funeral mass can be viewed live on kildaffparish.com. The death has taken place of Isabel Moore, née Beattie, 14 Ardcolumkill, Letterkenny. Her remains are reposing at her late residence. House private today, placed to family, close friends and neighbours between 12 noon and 10 o'clock. Funeral service in the family home tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock, followed by interment in Gortley Cemetery, Letterkenny. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of flowers, if desired, to Comwall Parish Church, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Willie Doherty, Ballyboe Convoy, County Donegal, and formerly of Glen McQuinn. Willie's remains are reposing at his son Liam's residence at Ballyboe Convoy. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:30, going to St Mary's Church Convoy for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass. Interment afterwards to the new cemetery Convoy. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of flowers, if desired, to the Donegal Alzheimer's Association, care of any family member. The death has occurred of Breed Bradley, née McGee, 25 Glebe Hollow, Stranorlar, and formerly Meanlara, Gortahork. Remains reposing at her late residence. Funeral leaving her late residence this afternoon at 2 o'clock for Requiem Mass at 2:30 in St Patrick's Church at Crossroads, Killygordon. Interment afterwards in the adjoining churchyard. The Requiem Mass will be streamed live on St Patrick's Church at Crossroads, Killygordon Facebook page. The house is private to family and close friends only, please. The death has taken place of Rachel Brennan, née Lafferty, 15 Dublin Road, Strabane, and formerly of Ballindrate. Her remains are reposing at her home. Funeral leaving her home this evening at 6:30, going to St Patrick's Church, Murlock, Lifford. Requiem Mass tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The house is private to family and friends only, please. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Mary McNamee, Drummond, Letterkenny. Mary's remains are reposing at her niece Kathleen and Joe Crawford's residence at Carricknamana, Killygordon. House private to family only, please. Requiem Mass this morning at St Junan's Cathedral, Letterkenny at 11 o'clock. Requiem Mass can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. Interment afterwards in Comwall Cemetery, Letterkenny. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of flowers, if desired, to the Donegal Alzheimer's Association, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Joseph Campbell, Drumley, Glen Ely. His remains are reposing at his sister Mary McCarn's residence at Drumley, Glen Ely. Funeral leaving there this morning at 10:15 for Requiem Mass at St Mary's Church at Boken Kildaff at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The death has taken place of Anne Devaney, Ardcrone, Key Road, Dunlow. Her remains are reposing at her late residence. Funeral Mass today at 12 noon in St Cronus Church, Dunlow, with interment afterwards in Mahery Cemetery. House private to family, close friends and neighbours only, please. Family flowers only. Donations in lieu to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or Sean McGlynn, Funeral Director. And the death has occurred in Glasgow of Charlie McGeever, formerly of Ballyboe's Fulcara. His remains are reposing at his late residence in Glasgow. Removal from there going to the Church of Christ the King, Carmonic Road, this evening at 7:30 to repose overnight. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock with burial afterwards in Lynn Cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed live on ctkg.org. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
I'm Lorraine Keane, and I hate feeling tired and hormonal. Yet that's exactly how I felt when my perimenopause started in my late 30s. For nutritional support, I chose Irish supplement Clean Marine Menamin. Why? Because Menamin contains omega-3, vitamin D, and also vitamin B6, which contributes to the regulation of hormonal activity and helps reduce tiredness. All in just 2 capsules a day. Ask for Menamin at health stores and pharmacies, or learn more at cleanmarine.ie. I'm glad I did.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okay, Community Garda information on the way for you very shortly. Stay tuned for that. If you want to watch that item, hop onto our social media. Actually, first protocol, go to our website, highlandradio.com. You'll see a link for Watch the 9 till Noon Show, and you can watch it in the rest of the programme. Hi, Greg was driving to Port Salon on Sunday. I was behind a group of 30 cyclists for 15 minutes from Kerrykeele until Port Salon. No chance of passing their group. Was twice the length of 2 articulated lorries. They complain about drivers showing no concern for them. Should be a law no more than a group of 4 bicyclists on public roads. Another, hi Greg, what is the story with the cameras in the main street in Carrigans? And what about people's privacy and how is watching them? Would it be great if you could find out? Thanks. I'm not sure about the situation there. In terms of privacy, look, the CCTV everywhere. I'm not sure you're in a public space, and if these cameras are pointing to a public space, I'm not sure of any privacy situation there. As I say, if they're security cameras or CCTV, I don't know what they are. To give blood, you can't weigh over 19 stone. Some heavy people are healthy. I wasn't aware of that, the first part of that. To be honest with you, I didn't realise you had to be under 19 stone. I'd have to look into that. It seems, how do you strike that? I mean, if someone's 7 foot tall, 19 stone, well, there's many people that weight, if you know what I mean. But if it's 19 stone, is there no other determining factors? I don't know. Greg, does anyone else know about this? I went to the local post office and had euros and wanted to buy sterling. From now on, to do this transaction, you have to give your name and address. It's not like I was getting thousands. It was just 70 sterling. It really put me off. Is this for real? When I asked, he just said it was new rules. Well, I presume it's maybe to do with laundering of some description or other. I wasn't aware of it. I think you're lucky because a lot of these post offices now, I don't want to get into trouble for saying this, but, rural post offices that are in different premises don't necessarily offer all the same services. But in any case, I presume it's to do with money laundering of some description. €70 seems a small enough amount for that. But anyway, that would be my best guess. I'm putting it out there because I know someone out there is going to know better than we and you do. Would any of you listeners know what the cameras are for as you come into Burnfoot from Derry, one on each side, pointing in both directions? Anyone out there know? Another caller says, I used to donate blood but had a heart issue and then an ablation 3 years ago. When I went back to donate, they told me I wasn't allowed to donate because of the ablation. Is there a time limit on this or can I go back to donate again? We'll try and find out for you. Hi, I got a blood transfusion 20 years ago and still cannot donate blood. Will this ever change? I'm not sure what the situation is there, Rita. That has come up before. My phone broadband contract with Sky is up shortly. I rang to renew or negotiate a similar deal to what I currently have. I kept being told that due to COVID, they were experiencing a large volume of calls and the waiting time was 30 minutes. I hung up, ran a crowd called Pure Telecom and got a fantastic deal, saving €25,000 per month. Okay, that's the way to do it. Less of this brand loyalty, folks, and I'm speaking to myself here. There are 2 very expensive signs at Trimra on the dual carriageway near Letterkenny, which used to light up with the speed indications, but they haven't been working for years. Well, if you put them up, you have to put them up and make sure they're maintained. It's like these temporary traffic lights, speed restrictions outside schools. They have to be on when they're supposed to be on and they have to be off when the schools are closed, or else people just ignore them. Greg, 20 cars have crashed since last year at Church Corner in St Johnstone. Nothing done about it. One near fatality for a woman on the footpath. What's going on there? Why is 20 cars? It's almost worth going to have a look at that if I don't drive through it to see what's going on there. A traffic warden, are you for real? Sure, there's no Garda car in Dunfanaghy for 5 months. How could they afford a warden? Well, because, you see, it's much easier. They make money. They make money, So I would say it'd be far easier to get a traffic warden to enforce the law there than it might be to get a Garda appointed to a station, especially considering where those decisions are made. Right, okay. I just want to let you know that there's still time for you to enter our Holiday of a Lifetime competition here at Highland Radio, but the sooner you do it, the better, for reasons I'll explain in a moment. This draw is for a €10,000 holiday voucher plus £5,000 spending money. It's in association with Atlantic Travel. Now, if you enter the competition and you're lucky enough to win, you can choose anywhere in the world to travel. It could be, you know yourself, you might want to go to Barbados or Singapore, or maybe you watch, you know, a place in the sun and you want to go over to one of those further flung places than Spain or Portugal. Well, you'd be able to do that. You can travel Route 66, whatever you want to do. It's your choice. £10,000. Once you win it, you can decide what you want to do with it in terms of travel. Now, if you want to win that, you go onto our website, highlandradio.com, and you'll see a win a holiday box. Click on that. You answer a simple question. It is simple. It's just something you have to do. And you can buy tickets. The most expensive is a single ticket, €10. If you have the money and you want to be in with a better chance of winning, 6 for 50, 10 for 80. The closing date for entries is Wednesday the 13th of April, right? So you might say, well, shall I leave it till the 13th? Well, no, because if you buy a ticket before the 15th of March, that's a little over a week from now. In fact, it is a week from now. You'll also be entered into another draw. And it is courtesy of our friends at Sunway Holidays, and that's a 1-week holiday for 2 people in Turkey for this October. If you win that, your name goes back in the hat, so theoretically you could win both holidays. So get entering if you're going to enter, because the earlier you do, the better chance you have. In other words, you're in for 2 holidays rather than 1. So good luck if you're entering that today. Right, okay. We'll be back with the Community Garda information after we take a break and the bingo numbers.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Tuesday the 8th of March. You're playing on the brown sheet. The reference number is S7. It's game number 10. The numbers are 67, 64, 3, 87, 90, 54, 84, 22, 68, and finally 66. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
With passengers boarding for the holiday of a lifetime, please go woo!
Highland Radio wants to send you on the holiday of a lifetime.
Worth €10,000.
Plus £5,000 spending money. Woo!
Get your ticket now at highlandradio.com. Answer the question and start packing. Start packing.
Draw takes place April 14th on the 9 till noon show.
Get your ticket early and enter a bonus draw for an extra week's holiday in Turkey.
2 for the price of 1.
Start planning your ultimate getaway. Only on Highland Radio.
Win with low prices from SuperValue. With great offers like SuperValue Fresh Irish Lamb Leg, save 33%. Epic! Personal non-bio powder 130 wash, only €13. That's 10 cents per wash. Super! And wine of the month, Sartori Ripasso, now €10. Winning! Win with SuperValue low prices. Enjoy alcohol responsibly.
This summer, holidays are go with Jet2 Holidays and Atlantic Travel. So go discover our amazing destinations with 22 kilograms of baggage included. Ask the experts at Atlantic Travel about your next Jet2 holiday by calling 074 912 6193 and book now with just a £60 deposit per person. Jet2 Holidays, package holidays you can trust, subject to availability and conditions.
Okay, 086 60 25,000. That's the WhatsApp number, 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000.
The Community Garda information is brought to you in association with Northwest Alarm Systems, incorporating Third Eye Fire and Safety. Is now your one-stop shop for security, fire alarm systems and fire training. Visit our website for more or call 074 97 21687.
Okay, it's 23 minutes past 10 on this Tuesday, the 8th of March. We're joined in studio now by Garda Sean Swinney from the Buncrana Garda Station. Sean, thank you very much for joining us.
Morning, Greg. Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you with us. Okay, let's start with some appeals here. And very sadly, Gardaí having to make an appeal as it relates to a fatal road traffic collision.
That's right, Greg. It's occurred in Raphoe on Wednesday, the 2nd of March. So at approximately 2:30 p.m. Wednesday afternoon, two vehicles collided on Guesthouse End Road in Raphoe. As a result of this collision, one vehicle lost control and collided with a pedestrian. This female pedestrian, who was aged in her 50s, she was seriously injured and taken to Letterkenny University Hospital. She was later transferred to Tala University Hospital, where she passed away in the morning of Monday the 7th of March. So we're appealing to any person who may have witnessed this collision, any person who was in the Guesthouse End Road on the afternoon of Wednesday the 2nd of March around 2:30 p.m, please contact Investigating Gardaí. Similarly, any road users who are travelling the area who may have dashcam footage is asked to make it available. And look, if you have any information in relation to this, please contact Letterkenny Garda Station on 9167100 or the confidential line on 1800 666 111.
Okay, appeals for burglaries continue as the burglaries continue themselves.
That's right. This occurred in a house at Ardglass, Long Lane in Letterkenny on Saturday the 5th of March at approximately 8:20 p.m. The rear patio door of property is broken and entries believed to be gained, but nothing was taken from the house. We appealed the residents in the area. If they observed anything suspicious, any activity around that time, also appealed to anybody who's travelling in Long Lane or Glass between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. who dashcam footage, please contact Letterkenny.
Another burglary on the Pierce Road.
Yeah, this was in town on Saturday the 5th of March between 4:30 a.m. and 4:45 a.m. This business is situated in the car park beside the station roundabout. A man dressed in a black coat with the hood up, wearing a mask, dark bottoms, black trainers with white soles. He smashed a glass front door and entered the shop. Some of cash was stolen, a black iPhone 11, a black iPhone SS Max, various GHD hair setting tools, which included 3 hair dryers, 3 curlers and 10 hair straighteners, and 2 sets of hot tool curlers were all stolen. So appeal to anybody who's in the area, observe this man or captured him in dashcam. Particularly the taxi rank is situated close to the shop. We urge the taxi drivers to check their dashcam footage from that date. Look, and also, should anybody come across similar type of items for sale in suspicious circumstances, please alert Gardaí, and the confidential line again is 1800 666 111.
Yeah, and that's not just Letterkenny. These items can travel quite quickly throughout the region too, so keep your ears and eyes pierced. It might look like a bargain, but it could be your stuff that's stolen the next time. Right, criminal damage in St Johnston.
Yeah, this occurred on Tuesday the 1st of March at 5 p.m. Between Tuesday the 1st of March 5 p.m. and Wednesday the 2nd of March at 8 a.m. So the driver had to leave the car, which is a blue Mazda, parked along the roadside overnight because of a flat tyre. When they returned to the car the following morning, discovered the front windscreen, front passenger side window and rear passenger side window had been smashed. We appeal to anybody who may have information on the immediate assist in this investigation. Please contact Letterkenny on 9167100.
All right, criminal damage now in Ballybofey.
Yeah, this was on Friday the 4th of March at the Venny Street car park in Ballybofey. So Gardaí alerted the fact the car was on fire. This was reported shortly before 2:30 a.m. Fire brigade attended and extinguished the fire. However, substantial damage was caused to the car and it's believed to have started deliberately. So we're appealing to anybody who's in that area from the Venny Street car park and surrounding streets who may have observed any activity that may be of interest to us. Give us a call. Any information that might assist in the investigation, again, contact Letterkenny on 9167100.
All right, you have an update for us now as it relates to a previous incident.
Yeah, we issued an appeal for information on the 22nd of February in relation to burglary that occurred between the 21st and 22nd at a garage on the Middle Road, Ballyrain, Letterkenny. A number of vehicles and a set of car keys have been stolen from the property. So to date, one man has been arrested and charged in connection with the incident and brought before the courts. The investigation is ongoing in relation to the other individuals involved, but we would like to thank the public for the assistance given their as a result of our appeal.
Yeah, it's really important too that when we get a chance to, because obviously it's complicated when people are arrested and stuff, to highlight the fact that progress is being made in relation to these appeals. Okay, now an update on the Donegal Garda Youth Awards.
Yeah, these awards celebrate outstanding young people between the ages of 13 and 21 throughout the county. So the nomination process is open, and Garda Síochána and Donegal are now inviting the public to nominate a young person they know who's committed to making a difference in the community during 2021. The link to download the forms and further information is available on the Garda Síochána Donegal Facebook page. The forms are also available on the Garda website, local authority website, and from any Garda station. Completed nomination forms can be emailed to Donegal Garda Youth Awards at garda.ie or posted to Letterkenny Garda Station, New Line Road, Letterkenny, County Donegal, marked for the attention of Garda Grania Doherty. So again, nominations must be received by 5 p.m. on Monday the 28th of March.
Brilliant stuff as always, Sean. Thank you very much indeed. I appreciate that. Okay, that was the Community Garda information item here on Highland Radio with Garda Sean Sweeney today. He'll be back with you after the 10 o'clock news next Tuesday. Okay, we'll be back with more on today's edition of the 9 till noon show after the break.
The Community Garda information is brought to you in association with Northwest Alarm Systems, protecting homes and businesses across the Northwest for 40 years. Now servicing fire alarm systems. Visit our website or for more call 074 97 216 87.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages with life cover provided at no additional cost. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102 127.
Have you seen the crack that Highland Radio are having on Instagram? Are you a follower? If not, this weekend is your chance. We have a 50-inch LG Smart TV to give away. Visit our Instagram page for more details at Highland Radio Donegal.
Need a new part for your Ford car or van? Why not call to OMS Auto Parts in Buncrana? With a massive stock of Ford parts, you're sure to get the part you need. Free next day delivery on orders over €50. Call 074 9361924 or shop online at omsautoparts.ie.
Remember telling your kids not to play with their food? Well, you might have to eat your words, because Aldi has teamed up with Irish Rugby for the Play With Your Food competition to help kids enjoy their fruit and vegetables. Encourage your kids to create fresh fruit and veg masterpieces and share them on Aldi's social channels with hashtag Aldi Play With Your Food. The winning entry will be the Ireland team mascot versus Scotland. Join in at aldi.ie. Aldi, official fresh food partner of Irish Rugby.
The Northwest Independent Clinic is now Kingsbridge Private Hospital. Yes, we have arrived in Ballykelly, and if you need treatment or surgery, there is no need to wait. At Kingsbridge Private Hospital Northwest, you will have access to over 300 consultants and hundreds of treatments and services. We are approved by all major insurance companies and self-pay options are available. In fact, treatment could cost less than you think. And with guaranteed 5-star care from treatment right through to your personalised recovery plan, we will be with you every step of the way. So why wait? Visit kingsbridgeprivatehospital.com today.
Are you thinking seriously about changing or upgrading your car? If so, make your next call to iMotors and view our full range of Nissan and Kia. We are confident we have your next car. With fantastic offers on all new vehicles, iMotors in Letterkenny and Malin are here to help you drive away in your new 2022. For more information or to book a test drive, call our sales team today on 07491 34567 or visit imotors.ie.
Okay, I hope you well this Tuesday. It is the 9 till noon show with me, Greg Hughes. Right, some of your comments too. I tried all day yesterday to get an answer from my GP. Today I tried again and eventually got an answer. She says I could get an appointment in 3 weeks' time. Sure, I could be dead by then. I already waited 2 weeks to see if the issue would ease. She told me to call 999 if it was urgent. It's no wonder ED is jammed. Well, what would you do? If you have something that is niggling you and you think, right, something's not right here, this isn't cleared up, and you called your GP and they said, we'll see you in 3 weeks' time, what would you do? Would you roll those dice? Or would you get in your car or get into someone else's car and get down to ED and be seen in, maybe 12 hours, but at least you'd be seen? It is not a bit wonder the ED is jammered. Read the blood donor site. It says over 25 stone on their questionnaire, not 19 as you caller mentioned. Okay. Right, we're getting into a space there where you can maybe see the logic to it. Could you please tell Greg, read the dangerous driving at the top of Knockalla? Yesterday I was horrified to see many, many donuts on the road, so close to a cliff drop of almost 1,200 feet. Indeed. Hi Greg, I live in an estate in Convoy and there are cars and vans speeding in and out of the estate all the time. Loads of children playing in the area. It is an accident waiting to happen, but accidents mean that no one's really at fault. It wouldn't be an accident, would it? These people would be responsible through their driving for what happens. Finally, so embarrassed by Father Ted-like attacks on Russian embassy. First a priest launches a paint bomb, then a lorry with religious garb is reversed through the gate. Ireland is certainly living up to its international stereotype. All we need now is a few barrels of Guinness thrown through the embassy windows. Yeah, indeed. Listen, sometimes it's publicity stunts, and I mean, you can Google the man's name who drove reversed into the Russian embassy. He's ran for election, I believe, in Leitrim. I think he finished last, actually. But anyway, notwithstanding that, I don't think these things serve any benefit, really. I think there's other ways to legitimately protest and to get the point across without it being able to be used in some sort of a propaganda situation. Okay, it is the 9 till noon show. Time for a break for music. Actually, before I do, if you want to go on to our Facebook page now, it's great to see all the nighttime shows back, including Monday night sessions last night. They stream the programme the same way we do in this. So if you want to re-watch that back and see live performances and the conversation, you can go onto our Facebook page now, Highland Hub. Highland Hub are on the YouTube channel, and you can re-watch last night's Monday night sessions. That's you can catch up, really, but not just catch up in an audio sense, which is fantastic, and it's what most of us do, I think. But if you actually want to sit down and watch it as well, you can do that now. It's archived there for you on our YouTube channel, Highland Radio Ireland, or you can re-watch back on Highland Hub on the Facebook page. That's Jimmy and Paul and their guests on last night's Monday night sessions. All right, that is EMF there, and Unbelievable. If you were born in the, I suppose, late 70s and the 80s, you'd be very familiar with that one. We'll play for Hughie O'Donnell in Dunlow. Belated birthday wishes from Anne in Mahry, and also John Barrett in Portnew celebrating his birthday today. Lots of love from Peggy, Patrick, and family. Jared Rorty's Club Development Officer at go help me out here, Namira. Namaya Camogie Club.
Hurling and Camogie.
Hurling and Camogie. Good morning to you. How are you keeping?
Good morning. All good.
It's good to have you on the programme. Right, okay. So, talk to us about your club. It's got a rich history.
It's a big history. So, hurling was and is a massive sport. Obviously, it's one of the fastest field sports in the world. It's probably the oldest Irish sport, and it had an incredible pedigree once upon a time in Derry City. In fact, there were 9 hurling clubs in Derry City, and probably the spillover in the development in Burt and Kelly Gordon probably came from Derry City. Some of the biggest Ulster games were played at the turn of the century, the early 1900s in Derry City. And those 9 clubs really prospered well for a long time, but unfortunately there's only one club left in the town now, Namaya, and we've got this development draw to try and develop things there.
All right, tell us about it, because it's a draw with a difference.
It's a draw with a difference. So we've a fantastic field, a beautiful 2 acres green field, arable field down in Durran and Naspel and Doohery on the Lochbarrow Road. So on 2 sides of the field is the Owenbui River. It's a fantastic river for salmon and trout. And right next door is the Glenveigh National Park. So your immediate neighbour is 20,000 acres of the National Park. But what's fascinating about the history is the name of the townland. So it's Durra na Naspel. So everybody knows Durra Columkill, Derry City, after St. Columkill. Durra na Naspel is the townland of the Apostles. It's the only townland in Ireland called after apostles. So history has it in 1595, the English destroyed St. Columkill's monastery in Torry, and all they left on the island was the bell tower. The monks came back to Donegal, and the best place for refuge at that stage was actually that glen, that wooded glen of Durran and Aspel. So that's the reason it's called that Durran and Aspel. And then there's the wee pound field inside it, and there's great history of the pound field as well, because whenever John George Adair evicted all the people out of Glenveigh, he started at that end of what was his estate at that stage. And then he brought in Scottish blackface to replace the people, Scottish blackface sheep, and they roamed over the open mountain immediately above the wee field. And he built that dry stone wall pound in the field to house the sheep when he was gathering them for clipping.
So, how did this become to be raffled?
How it became to be raffled is we are an impecuniously challenged club. We don't have much money. We're in a very disadvantaged part of Derry. We're in Shantala, Gallia, Cairn Hills, and the census figures always show that consistently the most disadvantaged part of Britain and Northern Ireland is Shantala. So we don't have a lot of money. We couldn't go out and buy a house. We couldn't go out and buy a car. So what we did was we said, we'll buy a wee field down there and we'll offer people who win it the option of either taking €20,000 or that wee field. Now, we have been absolutely bowled over by the enthusiasm and the interest from the States, Canada, totally throughout the world. I think people have kind of identified the idea of owning a wee bit of Ireland.
Yeah, I mean, it is truly unique. Is it a case of, like, you have full ownership of it?
You have full ownership. So what will happen is you win. We're going to have all the tickets. We're converting the online tickets to physical tickets. We put them in a big barrel. We're going to roll them up and down the field for a while on St. Patrick's Day. The youngest member of the club will reach in, pull out a ticket. That person then will get their name and address and their details. We'll transfer full ownership of that field. There's no burdens, there are no hereditaments on it. Enter their own, and they will become the owner of that field, or they can take the €20,000 instead.
And what could be done with it? Is it a case of having that?
Well, you could do absolutely anything with it. If you get it's an arable field, so you could plant oats in it, you could plough it, you could graze cattle on it, you could put a pod in it, you could put a tent, you could put a caravan, you could build a house, but we'd be cognizant of Donegal County Council planning. So what we're saying, that's, as all sites are advertised, it's subject to planning permission. But if you built a house in it, it would probably be the most brilliant site in Ireland, because you're looking down the whole way down to the Derryveigh Mountains on the one side, and then you're hearing the stream on the other. And what you don't appreciate is up above you is the waterfall coming down from the common edge.
Yeah, because we often talk about sites with sea views or sites close to the ocean. A lot of people like the inland feel to it. I mean, you're not going to get a much nicer inland site. Now, when I say site, I don't mean site for building. I'm on about just property, in terms of property. I mean, it is beautiful. It's truly Irish, and it's drenched in history.
It's drenched in history. So to buy online, go on to Namagha, Namagha, and you can buy your tickets online. And what we do then, as I said, we convert those tickets onto online purchases to physical tickets. And you're going to be helping a really, really good cause, because, as I said, the challenge that we have is we're not a wealthy club. We're not one of these clubs that's operating in places like, South County Dublin, where Coola or Blackrock, or we're a club that has coming from a disadvantaged area, a very deprived area, so we need whatever fundraising we can get. And the sad thing about Derry City is 42 soccer pitches, council in there maintain everything for every other code, and the only place that you can hurl is one single pitch, because obviously anybody who knows anything about hurling knows that you need slitter catchers. You've got to catch the wee hurley ball after it goes up over the posts. And we have tried going in through the town playing elsewhere, and then we break slates and we break windows and we get chased and we get hunted. So again, we need a wee bit
slightly dramatic, but I think you paint a vivid picture.
Yeah, listen, literally we have been at Bishopsfield and Cregan and broke slates and broke windows and had to leave. Yeah. We've in Brook Park, we've had to do the same because of the lack of slitter catchers.
Can I ask you about this field? It's so unique, it could go two ways. It's so bizarre, like, well, why would I enter a raffle for a field? Or someone might go, I've never seen anything like this, I'm buying 10 tickets. Do you know what I mean? What's the big reaction? Is it so unique that it's worked for you?
We had the reaction has been incredible because the historical connection, and again, there's loads of people who are saying, look, I've no interest in a field, and then we say to them, well, would you like to win €20,000? And they go, yeah. So you'll be given that option when you win the field. You can either take the field or you can take your €20,000.
I think it's great, and I love the history, the historical element of it as well. Now, you are really the last club in.
We are the last surviving hurling club in the city, which is incredibly sad because if you look at the history of the GAA, the strongest place for hurling in the 9 counties of Ulster was Derry City. Ulster games were played in the Pennyburn in Derry. We had 9 clubs, and hurling was really thriving in Derry City, and Burt became effectively a Derry club as well, and they used to play in the Derry Championship. So way before GAA became strong in South Derry or GAA became strong in West Donegal, Derry City was to the forefront.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, some of the Catholic bishops in Derry took a real Sabbatarian approach and argued that you shouldn't play sports on a Sunday. Now, if somebody went to, were fasting from the night before and they went to First Mass in St Eugene's Cathedral on a Sunday morning, planning to go play a game of soccer, well, nobody would know they're slipping off to play a game of soccer. But if you landed in with your hurl with you and went up to the altar rails, well, very obviously you're going to get a bit of a whack back from the bishop. So they really pushed hard to practically eradicate hurling as a sport in the city.
And isn't it amazing how hard it is to undo that?
It's listen, and facilities is the big one because you can just imagine
they get repurposed, don't they? Or
those 9 clubs at that stage had hurling, and listen, look at the social aspect and the benefit of getting kids out there, getting them playing. And in terms of skills development, anybody that's hurled will say that anybody can hurl can do any field sport.
100%. Yeah, once you have that element of skill, it's transferable.
It's transferable too.
Okay, so if people want to buy.
Ticket. To go online, type in Namagha, Namaya, Namagha, and you'll get everything that's from or indeed just put in Winna Field at this stage. It'll come up because I think we're fairly well covered on the online.
I'll just show people who might be watching here on social media, they'll see how beautiful a setting that is. Okay, listen, it's been brilliant, and it's inventive, and we just hope you do build a field by raffling this field. It's been great having you in for the historical element of it as well, but also just to talk about this, and we appreciate your time, Jared. I really do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Brilliant.
All right, that is Jared Rorty, Club Development Officer of Namagha Camogie Club. We'll be back with more after the break. In fact, Jason Quigley will be joining us after these messages.
Car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
This March we reflect how COVID has changed death and bereavement in Ireland. Together we grieve. Irish Hospice Foundation Bereavement Support Line is open for all of us who are grieving. Free phone 1800 80 70 77 to talk to someone in confidence and for a shoulder to lean on.
Getting ready for the football season ahead. Visit Brian McCormick Sports and Leisure, Main Street, Letterkenny. Adidas Copa Sense football boots in soft ground and firm ground from only €80. Adidas Classics, Copa Mondial, World Cup and Kaiser Cup SG. Just arrived. The new Predator Edge .1 FG in black. Football boots, gloves, shorts and socks. In store or online. Click and collect on bmcsports.ie.
Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual office address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save your business hundreds, possibly thousands on custom charges with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 7187 8077 for more details.
All children aged 12 to 15 are being offered a COVID-19 vaccine booster. The booster is especially important for children with high-risk health conditions or if a family member is more at risk. It should give them better protection and reduce their chances of getting seriously ill. COVID-19 usually causes mild illness or no symptoms in children this age, but it can cause more severe illness. For more information or to book an appointment at a time that suits you, visit hse.ie/book. From the HSE.
All ready for next year? Why not make sure of it with SEAT? Trade up to a 221 SEAT SUV and you'll be offered PCP finance from 1.9% and a 3-year service plan for just $9.99 a month. With the bold new Arona, the stylish new Ateca, or the outstanding 7-seater Tarraco, we're all ready. Are you? Trade up to your 221 SEAT SUV at DMG Motors, Clare Road, Donegal Town. Finance provided by way of hire purchase agreement from Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland, trading as SEAT Financial Services. Subject to lending criteria. Terms and conditions apply. Visit SEAT.ie/221 for further information.
All right, boxing fans are going to be looking forward to a new documentary. It's called Lift Your Heels, but it's going to be one of those documentaries, I think, particularly for us here in this part of the world or in this country, like, that are going to take an interest in it because it will transcend its subject matter because it's so interesting. Now we have on the programme the subject of that documentary, Jason Quigley. Good morning, Jason. Great to see you again. How are you keeping?
I'm all good, Greg. Thanks for having me on. How's the form?
Oh, the form is good. Look, we'll talk about this documentary in a moment, but what's the story in terms of where you're going next, Jason? Have you any plans in place or anything coming up that your fans might want to hear about?
Yeah, well, we're still just in a little bit of recovery now at the minute. I obviously had surgery and had 2 plates put into my mouth. The bone now is fully healed up. Everything is 100% healed. But I had to get surgery about 3 weeks ago as well just to get those plates removed. So I'm just in a bit of recovery now from that there. And once I get the green light then from the surgeon that I'm able to get back full training and everything, we will sit down, have a talk with the team and see what's next then.
Yeah, when do you hope to get back into full contact sort of sparring sessions and what have you?
We're probably looking maybe in about 2 months' time, but we're going to have to gradually ease into that. We can't just kind of go straight back in and get hit by Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury or any of those lads. So it'll be. I
think I'll try and avoid that. That if you had a full platinum or whatever it is, titanium jaw. Yeah, indeed. As I say, I really want to focus on the documentary, but just in terms of the path, is it still your intention really to say, look, I've just come out of a fight at the very highest level, you know, my stock has gone up, you want to be sort of going back in at that, maybe an elimination type bout, or even maybe if another championship opportunity come along? Is that where you see your next couple of fights, Jason, or do you want to maybe a gentle warm-up fight and then on to that?
Yeah, that's something that's going to have to be really sat down and talked about. It's something that, you know, I'm coming to that stage now in my career. It's going to be probably the last chapter now. You know, it's at that stage now, and we need to make sure that we make the right moves. And, you know, I'm very lucky that I have a great team around me to do that. But without a doubt, you know, it's something that, you know, I really want to have a talk with the loved ones around me, not only the boxing team, but have a talk with the people that mean the most to me as well, and make a decision then and make a plan. What's the next move?
And very finally, middleweight, is that where you're at? Could you squeeze down to a lower weight?
Not right now. I'm not sitting in middleweight. But yeah, no, middleweight.
Speaking of that Anthony Joshua fight,
that is just me kind of steadily opening that path up.
Yeah, well, but, Canelo can do it. Why not you? But go on.
Middleweight is my weight, but I'd be able to campaign at middleweight or super middleweight. I don't think, you know, going below would be an option.
Not possible. Okay, listen. Right, so Lift Your Heels. This is chronicling such a huge part of your life, the highs and the lows. Tell us about this documentary, because anyone that will have seen the previous work that DAZN have put together know they haven't done too much of it, actually, really, in terms of this type of a documentary. So you're right in at the start of what they're doing, but they're doing it at a fantastic level. So tell us the story of Lift Your Heels.
Well, it's really, a look into the build-up to my fight against Demetrius Andrade. How camp went, the accommodation, eating, everything that kind of goes on, all the behind-the-scenes kind of stuff into a training camp. And then there was, a little bit more uncomfortable stuff for me as a person, because usually it's just, how's your training going? What's your weight like? Are you excited for the fight? All these stuff is just natural to me, and I've been doing it for years. But, there's been a lot of stuff then that is, how do we look into my personal life? A few things have come up about relationships, everything that goes on in my personal life. So this was something that was very different for me, and it was very interesting as well.
Did it help? Did you, especially when you talk about, the stuff like use top level athletes suffer with the same stuff others do. You have times where you feel anxious, you have times where you might not be in the best place mentally and all that type of stuff. Discussing personal things, was that difficult for you, or was it helpful for you, or what?
I think, at this stage in my life now, I'm at a great place, mentally, emotionally. I'm in a really great place in my life right now, and I'm well able to deal with all these things now. I'm well able to deal with trauma from the past, hard times that I have gone through in the past. And one of my main objects, from this documentary as well is, I really want people to take something away from this, and hopefully that it can help someone understand that just because somebody's fighting for a world title, or just because somebody is living a very good lifestyle on paper, that's not always the way in their head, or that's not always the way behind closed doors. And everything isn't always up on cloud nine. There is definitely difficult times, and everybody, I think the majority of people in this world at some stage of their life has gone through anxiety, bits of depression, of course some at a higher and lower levels, but it doesn't matter how high or how low the levels of it is, it still affects your life, it still affects your day to day. And that was something that was very difficult to talk about. But as I says, I'm in a great place now, and I can deal with this and I can talk about this openly, because I really want to do this to help other people as well.
Yeah, indeed. And I think that's amazing. But also what we'll see is what it takes, what commitment it takes, what determination it takes. The athleticism boxers possess. Anyone who wants to know how tough boxing is, go and watch like one of those white collar boxing matches, or I wouldn't encourage anyone to watch an abomination of a show at the weekend. It was American YouTubers versus, I don't know if you saw that, versus...
I seen the clip of the guy that headbutted the,
That was only part of it, right? But anyway, I don't think that's good for the sport. But anyway, that's what happens when you put in a year's training, or you put in 3 months training. You're gassing after a minute. What you guys do, is absolutely unbelievable. We'll get an insight into that, the sacrifices and the life that you have to lead, and the determination it takes to step in through those ropes at the best you can actually be.
Yeah, there's a lot of sacrifices, and don't get me wrong, to be successful or to reach goals and limits and heights that you set yourself, you're going to have to make sacrifices in life. We can just, live a nice, happy, steady life and never really go outside our comfort zone, but you will never really experience or achieve anything out of the ordinary with that. And that's something that, in boxing, that I never really thought of, I suppose, because your whole life is just going 100 miles an hour. You're looking at the next fight, you're looking at the next training camp, you're injured, when am I going to recover, when am I next out, when can I get back in the ring? Everything is just happening so quick and so fast, and you never really get time to look back at what you have been through, where you have came from. And doing this documentary actually brought up some questions that made me look back and made me look where I came from, and made me look at everything that I have gone through in my life and in my sport. And, you know, it was strange. It was difficult because I'm just usually always looking forward every single time. And, you know, what's next? How do I become the champion? You know, just working everything out and just trying to get to the top of the tree all the time. And yes, you know, looking back, there has been so much that you sacrifice. There's so much that you go through, but not only you, it's the people that's around you. And I think it's only then that you actually realize and appreciate what people do for you in terms of your family and friends, like what they go through just as much as you do whenever you're away training, whenever you're away in camp, and whenever you're in the ring as well.
You topped the bill on a massive show. Took on, you know, one of the best fighters out there in Demetrius Andrade. He is something else. Is that the pinnacle of your career, or is the pinnacle yet to come, do you think?
Very good question. It's something that, you know, I haven't really probably sat down and thought about, because my main object over the last while has just been making sure that I get this jaw healed up and that I'm back to 100%. But yeah, like, you know, if you had said to me before I turned professional that would happen, then I would have just took the two arms off you and says,
but you're hungry now. You want more.
Yeah, of course. You know, you feel that and you see that, and you see, like, the support leading up to that fight was unbelievable. The buzz, the atmosphere, everything was just like, it was an unbelievable week. The whole fight week from when I touched down in Boston, like, it was absolutely brilliant. I really enjoyed it. I got excited, but controlled excitement. I was very focused, very relaxed. I think I had everything kind of taken care of, and, you know, I felt probably the best I ever felt going into that fight. And in boxing, these things happen. It's just very unfortunate, and, you know, the better man on the night just landed that shot and took things away from me. And that's probably one of the most frustrating things of the fight, was that I didn't even get a chance to grab that fight. I didn't even get stuck into that fight, because in that fight I was put down and my jaw was broke, but I was never hurt in a way that I couldn't continue. You know, I was. Well,
we never got to see. We never got. Of course, and that was clear. You didn't even really look that buzzed at all. We never got to see what you and Andy Lee and others had put in place. We never got a chance to see what would happen when you frustrate him, when you take him down. Did he prepare for you? Did he look past you? All those questions we haven't had answers to, because of that one punch that just did what it did.
Yeah, and like that's what I mean. That's probably the most sickening and hurtful thing, and the hardest thing to try and get over is, like, I trained my whole life for that fight. Like, everything was, you know, that's what you want. As soon as you start boxing, you know, you want to be a world champion. And I got to that point where I was fighting for that world championship, and, you know, I didn't get the opportunity. If I was hurt and if I was buzzed and my legs were unsteady, then at least I could have just says, right, I need to try and knock him out here. Like, this is just got to go for broke, Hail Mary here now. And I didn't do that, because I was still mentally all aware. I was still just trying to stay out of distance, trying to stay out of danger, because I knew I just had to get over that flurry of punches, that burst of excitement from him. And I didn't get the chance. The referee stopped it.
You were still in plan A mode. You didn't even have to look at a plan B. You were still in plan A mode. That's the brain space you were still in.
Like, every time whenever I got up off the canvas, I knew I was like, right, just stay focused, try not get caught again. Like, everything was working. The brain was working. The legs were good. He just caught me with that shot. And, you know, obviously I got asked the question there recently, did I agree with what the referee's decision? And it's a funny one, because I don't agree with the referee's decision to stop the fight, because I was able to continue. He didn't know my jaw was broke.
100%.
I didn't know my jaw was broke. I knew something was badly wrong with my mouth, but we did not obviously know at the time, and your adrenaline's rushing. You just want to keep going. So looking back on the fight, I'm happy now, obviously, that the referee had stopped it, because, you know, going another 10 rounds with a broken jaw could have been some serious damage.
He stopped it at the right time, but for the wrong reasons.
Exactly. That's 100% spot on.
All right. Okay. Well, listen, hopefully there's at least one more night for us to look forward to. Lift your heels. This is an access all areas look at this. We'll get an insight like we've never before. The Parker one was brilliant. I'm sure this one's going to be great too. When is it released? Because I've been looking out for it and I couldn't see a promo for when it was to be released. So when is it actually out?
It's going to actually be out now on Thursday night on Virgin Media 2 at 10:30 p.m. And the team did a great teamwork to get all this together. With the likes of Ladbrokes and Swish Films who put it together as well. It was unbelievable. So everyone worked so well together because obviously I was going into a world title fight and they didn't want to cause any problems. So they were very respectful and it was a good team effort to get it done.
Then they got the access and it's great that everyone can watch it. So it's on Virgin Media 1 at...
Virgin Media 2.
Virgin Media 2, sorry Jason. Virgin Media 2. Okay, we look forward to it. It's called Lift Your Heels. It gives us a full, an access all areas kind of look to the biggest night so far in Jason Quigley's boxing career. We can't wait to see it. As I say, previous documentaries that have been released this year with the same kind of a feel to it have been excellent, so I'm sure this one will be excellent too. There's some brilliant people working on this stuff. Thanks, Jason.
Appreciate it.
All right, take care of yourself. Thanks very much indeed. Okay, I've lost track of time a little bit. It is a little bit late, sorry, 11:05. It is time for a news update and it's over to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Gardaí are continuing to appeal for information after a woman died following a crash last week in Raphoe. At approximately 2:30 on Wednesday afternoon, two vehicles collided on Guesthouse End Road. It's believed one of the vehicles lost control and collided with a pedestrian. The woman, aged in her 50s, was seriously injured and taken to Letterkenny University Hospital. She was later transferred to Tulla University Hospital, where she passed away yesterday morning. The Taoiseach says the Ukrainian crisis means things here will be tough for a while. Households are already facing spiralling fuel bills, while there are concerns about possible food shortages, and the state will have to provide financial support for Ukrainian refugees who come here. Money and numerous high-value items have been stolen from a business premises in Letterkenny. The property, situated at the car park area behind the station roundabout on the Pierce Road, was targeted between 4:30 and 4:45 on Saturday morning. A man dressed in a black coat with his hood up, wearing a mask, dark bottoms and black trainers with white soles is believed to have smashed the glass in the front door and entered the shop. Gardaí have been praised for their actions following a dramatic chase on Rosnoila Beach on Sunday. Video footage of an incident involving two motorcyclists speeding across the busy beach has been circulated widely on social media. One motorcyclist was eventually apprehended by Gardaí, who gave chase on foot after the motorcyclist fell off his bike. Gardaí believe a car fire in Ballybuffet on Friday night to be deliberate. It was reported to Gardaí at around 2:30 that a car was set on fire at the Navanny Street car park. Substantial damage has been caused to the vehicle. TDs and senators will today hear about the future of Ireland's railway network and what must be done to improve it. The Oireachtas Transport Committee will hear submissions to the All-Ireland Rail Review later. And very strong and gusty southeast to south winds are expected in Donegal today. A Spanish yellow wind warning came into effect this morning and will remain in place until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Okay, Michaela, thank you, and apologies once again for coming to you a little bit late. Back after the break.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
CarsIreland.ie presents When Car Buying Becomes Catfishing.
Oh, what's that smell?
Irish pigeons. I bring them in the back the odd time. They have a very particular scent.
It's horrible.
You'll get used to it. Cars Ireland isn't just fast and easy. We only work with trusted dealerships, so you can find the right car without the unwanted surprises. CarsIreland.ie. Click, click, vroom, vroom.
It's exciting times at Hillside D-Max in Letterkenny because they've moved, but not too far. Their new kitchen design studio is now open at Curralees on the other side of the Mountaintop Roundabout. This new studio showcases the latest kitchen, wardrobe and slide robe designs with D-Mac's renowned attention to detail and exceptional quality.
Hillside DMAX, in the heart of your home since 1994. Now at Curralee's, Mountaintop Letterkenny.
Donegal Hearing Clinic, now open at Pierce Road, Letterkenny and Buncrana. Now offering state-of-the-art rechargeable hearing aids free with your PRSI. Also pain-free microsuction wax removal services. Call 07491 88470 or donegalhearingclinic.ie. Life sounds brilliant with Donegal Hearing Clinic.
Fancy getting out of the house this weekend? Call to the Eglinton Market on Sunday from 12 noon at Eglinton Community Hall. Make sure to pop by and grab some handmade gifts, delicious local treats and artisan food. Support your local traders this Sunday at Eglinton Community Hall from 12 noon to 4 p.m.
Kajimmer Natasha Colin Ferreter and Shaw to Rulia Bulia Arash to Kid in your Biols the studio and chart in Shire a shark there was a hook the club the Rave Arc McD Sanir Hushkat Shart in the Gilliga La Ambassador Kivani Cahow August Udor Ahanta Samu Fadi Torch Free Kursi Slam Filiakta Shin Iya Kenya is a shark as a hook Rulia Bulia.
Okay, so earlier on we heard from a caller who said she was upset having to wait behind horses, that they don't pull in on a narrow road exiting a beach, and said it's not the thing to do. Right, Diane joins us. Diane, how are you getting on?
Not so bad. Greg, yourself?
I'm all right. I love seeing horses out on the roads, to be honest with you. It's all part of rural living to me. That's part of the attraction to it. But for some people, as we heard earlier, it pees them off. What's your opinion?
I don't see the big issue in slowing down, either stopping or coming to a crawl and passing them. What's 2 minutes of your life? People need to slow down a bit.
Are we losing our tolerance for each other, I wonder? You know, are we getting too impatient?
I think we are. Like, as you say, it's a part of rural living, you know, horses and stuff. And the drivers need to consider, too, they're big animals, they're beautiful animals. But if that horse is spooked, not only is that a danger to the rider, that horse could... You know, it could run in front of your car, it could do serious damage to your car and the people in the car. So as I say, for 2 minutes of your life, slow down, let the horse and the rider go past.
Relax and enjoy the view.
Exactly.
All right, Diane, thanks very much for that. Hina joins us too. Good morning to you.
Hello. My Hina?
Hina, what? Yes? Sheena?
Yes.
Okay, lovely to speak to you, Sheena. Right, okay, you want to talk about the horses?
Yeah, I live in Buncrana and I've had horses all my life, you know. I'm a very keen horse person, you know, I'm very passionate about them. And I've been out actually horse riding the last couple of days and I had an incident on Sunday and I've had incidents before with cyclists coming up behind horses and coming towards them. They don't even go into single file, they come at you and they come behind you, and I've had horses take off on me because they don't like the sound and they get a fright. And it's not that I'm on here now to give cyclists a hard time at all. Everybody's entitled to their hobbies, you know. But on Sunday now I had a particular incident where my horse went right out in front of the cyclists and they were all swerving to get past me, you know. And I suppose my point there is, why can't they stop when they see an animal coming? I mean, to allow me to get into a lay-by or allow me to get into a side road where we'll all be safe, but they can safe past me and get on with their journey and I can get on with my journey.
It's interesting. I wonder, right, and I'm not jumping to the defence of cyclists, but I do wonder, maybe cyclists could be listening to this for the first time and realising that, you know, they need to understand that they and horses are not sort of the same, that horses can get as startled from a bike as they might a car.
Yeah, and it could cause a serious accident for both myself, the horse, and the cyclist, you know. But I mean, I had a very real experience on Sunday with this, you know, where this happened, and the horse actually came out in front of them. And I was trying to turn the horse to face them, to ask them to stop, and they were just going in and out past me, you know. But anyway, that's the way it is. But
wow.
Talking about cars on the roads now, I have to say this now. I find a lot of people very, very courteous, you know. I find a lot of people very courteous.
Okay.
I find drivers in particular are fantastic. They'll even stop their lorries and switch off their engines, and people in cars will do that too. But it's for the people that don't understand, that come past you with noisy engine, coming up close to you, passing you. I actually wear a visor, which drive slow, and please keep your distance, you know. And just one other point now, because I don't want to keep you...
No, it's all right. It's an interesting conversation. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's facilities for cyclists, there's facilities for hill walkers, there's facilities for swimming, but there's no facilities for people who ride horses. The roads have become a danger to us. The beaches aren't available to us all the time, because I would be very aware on a nice day that the beach isn't a place to go because there's too many people, so you're waiting for a wet, windy day if you want to go to the beach with your horse.
Ironically, you're looking for different weather than the rest of us. And also, I presume it also depends on the personality of the horse. This is not like bicycles. A bicycle's a bicycle. Obviously, the rider can be different. But, you could have a horse that's very good around traffic, or one that's slightly more easier startled, or one that particularly rears up when they see cyclists. So, it's not a one-size-fits-all with horses.
Yeah, well, in most cases, horses are very unpredictable, no matter how good your horse is. If your horse gets a fright, I have to say my horses are quite good on the road. But at the same time, that suddenness of somebody coming up behind you or somebody doing something like that, it spooks them, it scares them, because they're most of them today.
Well, some might say then, given the fact that they're not just animals, they're big animals, some of these, very big, powerful animals. If all horses, could be startled or have a reaction, should they be on the road at all? Now, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying some people listening might go, well, if it's that, if it could happen at any point, maybe then the safe thing is not to have horses on the road at all.
Well, where do you go? That's the problem. If there was trails and facilities for horses, that would be a different matter. We probably wouldn't have to take to the road, I also find a lot of people, when they see you coming on a horse, they love to see them. I stop, I let children pet them. I'm very courteous to people. If somebody passes me slow, I will lift my hand and wave them. If their window's open, I will thank them. I think it's just a mutual respect here,
It is remarkable, though, finally, because I'll let you go. It's remarkable, isn't it, that we have this massive country relative to its population in terms of how heavily populated it is. So many green fields, so much space. And yet, if you own a horse, there's no real facilities for you or very few options for you. It's remarkable, isn't it, in the type of country that we have.
Yeah. So it's something to look at, I think,
Okay.
So
Listen,
thanks for your...
continued happy and safe riding. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Take care of yourself, and thanks for shedding some light on that. Interesting that Helena, I think her name was, it's not written too clearly for me, that praising big lorry drivers, car drivers, mostly courteous, but the problems she encounters when out on the road with her horse, cyclists. 086 60 25,000, WhatsApps or texts. I suspect, though, I really feel that maybe cyclists weren't fully aware. Here's a caller that says, Greg, this is really beginning to frustrate me. The Department of Education is conducting a nationwide audit of schools across the country to examine the availability of places for Ukrainian children. I live in one area, but both my husband and I work in another town, so we chose for that for our children to attend school. Firstly, we had to wait ages for a place, saying we didn't fit the criteria. Then we get no free school bus because it's not our closest school. How is this fair? Well, it's fair. It's fair because these children are fleeing a war zone, and their houses and their workplaces are being flattened. Their income ability, like you and your husband working, and working hard, by the way, and deserve everything you get. You have that ability. These are people that are being bombed out of their country, regardless of the ins and outs of it. The victims of war are these people, whether it's Ukrainian, what they have done in the past, whether it's West interference, whatever it might be. At the end of the day, these are the victims of war. And do we not have a responsibility, even if we've stuff that we need to fix here, to say that, our door's open to you too, and we can help you, and we can give you some hope. If not the adults, at least the little children. So, as I say, we're never going to fix everything here enough that we can say, right, everything's perfect, now we can do our bit for the world. But surely we'd have to be seen to be... I mean, if anyone understands what this is like, what's happening in Ukraine, what it's like, it should be us, to some extent at least. Okay, without going in the ins and outs, we should have an understanding of what this can do to a community, what this can do to a family, what this can do to lives. I fully understand that historically a lack of investment and some crazy rules, particularly as it relates to schools buses, have left people in a difficult situation. But is that enough for us to say, right, we can't offer help? Do we want to be the same as the British, where they're pretty much not only the taking in, 50-odd Ukrainians, even though, their fingerprints are all over this situation, some might argue. They're actually worried of our generosity because they think this is going to be a backdoor into their country.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from 40,000 to 600,000 euro with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
CompuB has upgraded. Select is the new name for your local Apple expert. A next-level experience from the same great crew, offering the full Apple range with training, repairs, tech support and more. Buy any iPhone, iPad or Mac and get a 3-year extended warranty, 7-day tech support and a training course worth up to €339 on us. Only at Select. See what our knowledge can do for you. Visit us in-store or online at selectonline.com. Terms and conditions apply.
With passengers boarding for the holiday of a lifetime, please go woo!
Highland Radio wants to send you on the holiday of a lifetime.
Worth €10,000.
Plus $5,000 spending money.
Get your ticket now at highlandradio.com. Answer the question and start packing. Start packing.
Draw takes place April 14th on the 9 till noon show.
Get your ticket early and enter a bonus draw for an extra week's holiday in Turkey.
Two for the price of one.
Start planning your ultimate getaway. Only on Highland Radio. Celebrate with Sailor Bill this St. Patrick's Day in the Downings Bay Hotel. Tickets on sale now. Search at Sailor Bill Band on social media. Catch them on Friday the 18th at the Atlantic Bar Buncrana, or set sail for the Abbey Hotel Donegal Town on the Saturday night. Tickets are limited in Downings. Book now to avoid disappointment.
Study at the College of Agriculture, Food and Rural Enterprise this September. CAFRE is Northern Ireland's specialist agri-food and land-based college with campuses at Greenmount, Antrim, Loughry, Cookstown and Enniskillen. Discover courses in agriculture, food, horticulture, equine, floristry, veterinary nursing, land-based engineering and business. Join our virtual open week each evening on Discover CAFRE Facebook from Monday 7th of March. For event information visit cafre.ac.uk.
I'm Teresa Hudson. I'm a firefighter, advanced paramedic. There are still too many people dying on our roads. These are needless and preventable deaths. We all share the road. However you use it, please be careful and keep each other safe.
Together, let's save lives on our roads. A message from the Road Safety Authority, your local fire and rescue service, and on Garda Síochána.
Central Auto Parts are now stocking Sunny, a water-based paint offering all up-to-date colours for all vehicles, and Celimix Commercial, the perfect paint for diggers, plant and machinery. Buy it today at Central Auto Parts, Portlink Business Park, Letterkenny. Find us on Facebook or call us on 074 9127 491.
Okay, a couple of weeks ago we were talking about the price of petrol and diesel and variations between different parts of the county, and I think at that point it was like, I don't know, 159 or something, or 164, something along those lines. Now we're seeing petrol and diesel at the same price in some places, and we're seeing it up over 2 litres. It's over €2 a litre down the country. It's on its way up here. It's already here in some places, but that's the new reality. You put €50 into your tank if you're lucky enough to do so. And you are going to be struggling very soon thereafter, because you're going to get half the distance bar the shouting. 60-70% of the distance that you used to be able to get. That's the reality. Also, too, obviously, home heating oil. There are some curtailments on how much you can order. The price of it going through the roof. The ongoing hoo-ha. This is not the war I'm talking about. The background stuff is about, we'll stop taking Russian oil. The Russians are saying, well, if you do that, we'll switch off the gas. So we're going to have to bed into this. It's going to take months and months and months for this to be resolved. And I think that's in an optimistic scenario. So we can't rely on the markets to adjust the price of these essentials, particularly for us here in rural Donegal. The fact is, though, 50% is taken by the government, at least in terms of petrol and diesel. It's like 53% on one and 47% on the other. So I think the general consensus is something needs to be done. In fairness to Minister Charlie McConnell, he said yesterday they're looking at it, can't give any specifics, doesn't want to predetermine the outcome. Cahirlock of Donegal County Council, Councillor Jack Murray, joins us on the programme now. I mean, there is an energy crisis in this country. I mean, obviously it's not like the crisis that's facing the Ukrainians, but something needs to be done. We don't have alternatives here. We have to have access to our cars, and we have to heat our houses with either often coal or oil. I mean, this is the only saving grace is this is in March heading in towards the summer rather than towards the end of the summer heading into the winter. But it's a dire situation, Jack.
It is, and you've articulated exactly the point of how bad it is. And like we have families now that genuinely can't afford to heat their homes. There's people can't afford to put diesel in their cars. And Donegal, we know we rely here more than anywhere else on personal car use. We don't have the luxury of choosing to hop on a Lewis. Our train and our railway lines were dismantled about half a century ago. So we have to get in the car. If we want to go to work, we have to get in our car. And people are going to get hit very, very hard when they go to petrol stations today. And the point I've made is that although oil is increasing, the price of oil is increasing globally, and that's beyond our control. There's a horrific war going on in Ukraine, and that's causing that spike. But the government does have it within their gift to reduce the level of tax that we pay on our fuel, and we're still they have still not given a commitment not to increase the carbon tax again in May. So I do think this is an emergency when it's combined with the cost of living crisis. I do think emergency measures need to be taken to not only commit to not increasing the carbon tax, but to reduce the level of tax that we're paying at this moment in time, because it is.
I mean, but your party's putting this out in a uniform way. I'm not sure if all of the members are posting the same information, but it's obviously something you should do in this morning, at least in this county. What's the plan though? Because in my mind, and I'm not a very good at maths, but if we aren't taking in money, there's going to be a shortfall in the coffers, and of course there's all the other issues that need money spent on them. How do we square that circle?
Yeah. Well, first of all, there was no coordination this morning. This is just there was.
Sorry, I just saw you and Podder McLaughlin posted the exact same thing. I presumed that.
Okay. No, well, I went to fill my car today. It was 199.9, and I was very annoyed about what happened. So that's why.
I get that. I get that.
Yeah. But I suppose the likes of the carbon tax that's due to increase in May was to bring in an extra €36 million into the exchequer. Now, well, it sounds like a lot of money when you're talking about the national exchequer. That's fairly small. So I do think at the very least that should be easily overcome. But like we've seen during the likes of the pandemic, when an emergency happens, emergency measures can be implemented. Now, so
would you say a cap then? Say cap it at 160 per litre, and then the government has to take the hit to whatever it is until such time as the situation is resolved. Is that logical? I think we've seen that in other European countries.
Yeah. I think that's logical. I think it's achievable. If we could set that, and I think that'd be welcomed across the board, and maybe a similar price cap or a somewhat affordable price cap on home heating oil. I think that has to be looked in at, because we're going to be sitting with elderly people that are putting a coal into one room in their house and just sitting there for the entire day because they can't leave to another room because they can't put oil to get their radiators going. Like this is extremely serious. This is emergency measures. Like this, while it's a great nuisance maybe to a lot of people, it's very, very serious to the people that we know.
I just wonder if the conversation, things move so quickly. Like we're having a conversation now, myself and yourself and the whole country, about let's cap the price or whatever it is of this. But if it weren't for Shell buying a big batch of oil from Russia in the last couple of days, we'd actually be talking about rationing. There's rationing already taking place. Let's call it as it is. That's already happening. I just wonder if we're talking now about the price of a commodity. I just wonder in 2 or 3 weeks' time, are we actually going to be talking about whether or not we can actually get our hands on it?
Yeah, that's a serious problem in itself. But I suppose that's beyond the control of anyone in Ireland as to the level of supply we get. What the Irish can control, what the Irish government control, is about the excise and tax that we do put on the fuel that we do have. And I think when you're talking that well over 50% of your bill for your diesel and your petrol is on tax, like that can be changed and reduced fairly quickly. So I think that's what the government needs to act upon what they can control, and I think that's where they can make a real difference to people's lives.
We're seeing an almost unprecedented movement of people like we've not seen. We have, at the moment, we've taken into our country 1,500 Ukrainians. That's increasing all the time. There's been an amazing outpouring of generosity, people offering homes or what have you. Crashed the website last night, such was the interest. But at the same time, and it feels very much like the conversation we had at the time when we were talking about Syrian refugees. At the same time now, there's conversations having about, I can't see my GP. I got a 3-week appointment to see my GP. I can't get a school bus place for my child. The hospitals are already overrun. You're going to be dealing with an awful lot of those queries, but at the same time, we're going to be increasing our population quite dramatically in some parts of the country. What do you say to people who raise those concerns to you, that they would say to you, look, we are already struggling in all the areas I've just mentioned, and here we are taking even more people in. What would you say to those people?
I can understand the frustrations people have with the lack of services, the lack of access to housing, and that needs to be addressed, and that's something that we will always need to work on. But yesterday I was watching the news and I saw an 11-year-old child was sent away from home with a phone number written on their hand with no belongings, because that child's mother had to stay and look after an elderly relative who was in extreme danger of being bombed out of their homes, and that 11-year-old child is now walking to the border in Poland. These people are facing difficulty that we can never ever comprehend. And while I'm not going to say that we're doing enough we can for our own Irish people at the minute, that needs to be addressed. But these people are suffering in an unbearable way. And we have to do our bit to help out. This is a humanitarian crisis. And we can't have it on our national conscience that we don't do enough for these people, because we just absolutely have to.
But it's embarrassing though when you compare it to our reaction to other humanitarian crises. What is different? Why is our approach different? Because these people are from Ukraine.
Yeah, well, and that's we should be acting. We should always be acting, and there shouldn't be, I suppose, preferential treatment. I suppose because this is the most recent war that's broken out. It's all across our media, our global media. It is one that we're seeing more of, and people maybe because of that feel a stronger kind of level of sympathy for the Ukrainians. But I do agree that we should be doing more for the people of Yemen, Sudan, Palestine, or we should be doing more perhaps when Iraq and Afghanistan too were getting bombarded. But one shouldn't rule out the other. If it's right in one country, it's right in the other, and the Ukrainians are getting a horror of an invasion inflicted upon them, and we should be doing our bit. And I suppose too that many of these Ukrainians are now pouring into EU countries, which makes it easier for them now to reach Ireland. And as a member of the EU, I think we should be doing our bit to help those people in any way we can, be it through accommodation, through aid, and just in any way we have to step up to the mark here. We cannot, as I say, on our national conscience, we cannot leave these people to suffer alone.
All right. Just as it relates to the government action, if they take action as it relates to diesel, petrol, home heating oil, this is something that people can't wait on. That the struggle is real right now for an awful lot of people on all different incomes, by the way. This is affecting, I would say maybe the richest are insulated, but downwards from them, this is hitting everyone now. It needs to be acted upon as soon as is possible.
It does, and I'm aware too of even a school bus supplier. They're saying the margins now within the profit margins are just completely gone. So they think now that they won't be able to provide school bus services. So it's not just those on low incomes. Although people on low incomes are hit severely hard. There's businesses, hauliers, they just won't be able to survive. They'll be put out of business as this continues. So we do need, we've seen what can happen in the pandemic when the pandemic unemployment payment was introduced so quickly. We can see that these measures can be taken in an emergency. So I do think the government needs to act very quickly now to get this the tax on our fuel reduced ASAP.
All right. Thanks very much indeed for that. Liam Mulligan is Cahirlock of Aintu here in Donegal. Liam, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
What do you have to say in all of this?
Well, I think the issue is the cost shouldn't all fall on the government. Cost has to fall on the oil companies. The oil companies have a strategy. Indeed, Western governments have had a strategy of going for the cheapest source for everything. and never thinking about security of supply. It applies to food as well, which is an issue that's going to be important for Donegal. Talking about the need for the farmers to grow crops in the next year in order to make up for the loss of wheat from the Ukraine and Russia. So the oil companies need to be brought into this, and this is a government action in the market. The market is not sacrosanct. Even Adam Smith, the fellow who's regarded by the free marketeer extremists as their prophet, said that the market only sometimes happens for the betterment of all. Only that's much less than always. It's definitely not, and it's not even usually. As a matter of fact,
that being said,
doesn't.
if we had that level of influence over oil companies on a global scale, I mean, let's look at the reality is that, these oil prices were already going up. They adjust these prices by turning a tap effectively. They were already going up before this happened, okay? Yet at the same time, the main oil companies were posting record profits.
Exactly.
So if that is allowed to happen, that seems to be generally accepted by governments, okay? Well, I don't know what the relationship or who pulls the strings or where the influence is, but why now would they stand up and start saying, right, it's time for you guys to start absorbing some of this?
Well, that's the question of crisis, and this has to be done at a joint level by all European governments coming together in a cooperation to raise it with the oil companies. I mean, why was oil more expensive than pre-COVID before the war started? The probability is that there was a decision not to start up refinery capacity which had been shut down. Probably not the original sources of the oil wells. It's somewhere else along the line.
But I suppose at the end of the day, most recent wars, actually as a result of, they're caused by gas and oil, whether it's their availability, their mining, whatever it might be. So these are so important that they actually cause an awful lot of this heartache and this devastation and this loss of life. I just can't see all of a sudden some sort of a moral conscience being grown whereby they'll say, all right, we'll take the hit on this.
Well, I mean, the Saudis aren't going to take the hit on it. Yeah, they're going to screw us for what they can, and all the rest of the oil suppliers are going to say that as well. But it's what do we have control of? And remember, as I said, before the war started, oil was already more expensive. Heating oil and petrol and diesel were already more expensive than they were pre-COVID. There was no increase in demand.
Yeah, but Liam, you know yourself, though, this was flagged for a long time. Putin had been making his demands for a very, very long time. The Western powers knew what was coming. Maybe they didn't know the extent of it, but that was what was, to some extent as well, influencing the markets, because the writing was on the wall that this was going to happen.
Well, Putin was calculating that this wasn't going to happen, that he would get away with it, that he would get pretty standard sanctions. And I'd say the oil companies and the Western governments, and the German government certainly wasn't. They still had Nord Stream going. The German government was not calculating on this right up to the last minute. So, and they were very reluctant to move on it, So it wasn't obvious before. There were other influences happening as well.
There was also, there's other stuff going on, like the Germans had been trying to create and harbour a stronger relationship with Russia than maybe other countries within the EU. All that being said, at the end of the day, the bottom line is the biggest take here effectively is from the government. If you're paying €2 a litre at the pump, it's actually really €1 a litre in terms of, some might say to get that out of the ground, to process it as you might, to transport it, to get it into a pump, to get it into your car for €1 per litre is not bad. The big problem here is the government's taxes on it. Do you not think that?
But why is it now? It's not that it's €1 a litre. It's that it's €1.20, €1.30 a litre now, when it should be 80 cents a litre. And where is the control that we can take? A certain amount of it. We have to take a certain amount of increases. The government will have to take a certain amount of hit, but it has to be shared with the people that are responsible for this as well. I'm not one of these who says the state must take control of all markets. The state tends to come in too late and stay too long in any action that it takes, but it does have to take action at times. These are emergencies. The state can't subsidise everything forever. Someone else has to come in and contribute. People do things in emergency, but consider the UK. It had two great emergencies in the 20th century, the First World War and the Second World War. It was bankrupt after both. So everybody else has to take a hit on it, and especially the most influential, the people that are making the most profits that we can deal with, we need to control. We give them a good profit on it, but maybe a better than normal profit on it, but not these ridiculous profits that are coming out of this. If you look at the actual profits that the oil companies are going to be making on this is just out of this world, and we have to control them.
But when we talk about Saudi oil, we talk about Russian oil, we talk about American oil. We don't talk about companies. We're talking about countries.
There's country elements and there's company elements. There's markets in the world that we're not going to be able to deal with, but there are elements of the process of the chain from
but
the
it's
supply
like it's
of
not
the
it's
crude
not
oil
gas
to the petrol
companies
that we can control.
Yeah, but it's not gas companies that are going to switch off the gas supply from Russia to Europe and beyond. It's going to be Putin's government that do that.
We know that. And
how do you negotiate with that? How do you negotiate with that?
No,
how do you put pressure on that?
We have the silliness of someone like Varadkar and Johnson, both interestingly enough saying the same thing, that Ireland and UK only depend for 3% of their gas on Russia. We're in the same network, European network, as Germany. Therefore, we depend nearly as much as Germany on Russian gas. And if they shut it off, we are all in a major mess.
We had plenty of warning, though, of where this was going, whether it was for environmental motivations or whether it was for whatever it might be. We should have been, as much as we can, particularly given the size of our nation, we should have been making ourselves as self-sufficient as is possible. We do use all the gas that we produce, by the way. So
and more. We use a lot. We import a huge amount of gas.
I think a lot of people think that we have oil and gas off our coast, and that we sell that, and then we don't. We don't have oil. Yeah. We have gas, but we consume all of that gas. As far as I'm aware, we consume all of that gas. But in terms of diversity, in terms of wind, hydro, power energy, creation, wind energy, this is the stuff we should have been doing since 2014 when Crimea was annexed.
I was at a conference in 2007 during the boom when factories were running a problem that they couldn't buy electricity ahead for their future. They couldn't guarantee that they would get electricity in the next year. We were so far behind in building power stations. Now, the crash cured that problem. But a person from the department got up and said, we need three characteristics of our electricity supply. We need sustainability, we need security, and we need economy. And the person stood up and said there was no contradiction in these requirements, but they all pull in different directions, and we have neglected security. And Eamon Ryan's statement about the LNG terminal in Kerry, whatever its total benefits or not, was ridiculous. He was effectively saying we are not willing to pay for security of supply. We need to pay for security of supply, and unfortunately these things are going to cost. But in the particular immediate emergency, everyone along the chain that we can control, that our governments can influence, need to be influenced. The government needs to come up with excise duty cuts, but we also need to control the level of profits of the oil companies.
I just don't see that. I don't.
You don't see it happening. That's the problem, because we have a European Union based on Thatcherite principles, which is the free market is sacred.
Yeah, of course, but obviously, I mean, the way you could get to what you're talking about is you would probably have to in a compulsory way acquire these companies. I mean,
you compulsory control their output. It has been done before. It can be done. We can control what they do. We can control what they charge. We can know their inputs. We can know their input costs. We can know their process costs, and we can know their reasonable output costs.
Okay, but I mean, if we're not taking oil from Russia, okay.
Well, things are going to go up.
That leaves us short of the product, and then you're saying now we actually have to control how you costed. Anyway,
that's the same with the gas supply. If you take it, is it fair that we cut off Poland loses all its gas, even if it's in a network of pipes linked to the same network of pipes as us? Is it fair that Poland loses all its gas and we only lose 3% of our gas? Is that fair? And that's the sort of thing that has to be controlled, and it has to be controlled on oil as well.
All right. Okay, Liam, thank you very much for that. 086 60 25,000. By the way, that was Liam Mulligan, who is the Caherlock of Ainthu in this county.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Mortgages now available with a personalised service from your local and friendly credit union. Email mortgage@letterkennycu.ie.
Congratulations to sisters Grace McFadden and Mary Toland from Milford. They won an incredible €11,000 on NCBI Radio Bingo.
Oh, thank you very much, Scott. Fantastic.
See highlandradio.com for a list of retailers and purchase your book today for just €5 with daily prizes of €400 and a weekly jackpot starting at a whopping €5,000. It makes sense. Buy your book today.
For all your health and beauty needs, you can always rely on McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny. If you need a prescription, just call or order online at mcgees.ie and it will be ready for you in advance before you arrive. For beauty and skin care, there's all the big names at great prices in store and online. And for your photo printing needs, simply download the McGee's Photo Prints app or click on the website link. McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. For all your health and beauty needs, and so much more. Call 91-21409 or visit mcgees.ie.
At Centra, we're at the heart of the community, so we go to great lengths to help you live your best life. Fresh bread, finest meals, fantastic offers, all the good feels. Not to mention a fabulous wide range of our own brand favourites. And as for off-licence, we've been to the 4 corners of the world so you can enjoy the best wines and beers locally. At Centra, we've got everything you need. Centra. Live every day. Enjoy it sensibly.
At Hickey, Clark and Langan Insurance Brokers, they compare quotes from all the leading insurers, so you get a great price. Home, motor and van, farm, holiday home, travel and liability insurance, they quote them all. So if the worst happens, you're covered. For a competitive insurance quote today, call Hickey, Clark and Langan on 9126688 or pop into their office at Ballymacool, Letterkenny. Hickey, Clark and Langan General Insurances Limited, trading as Hickey, Clark and Langan, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Don't forget to make inquiries about the fantastic offers we currently have across the range of Nissan and Kia, with PCP options available on all new vehicles. We have your new car sitting ready to go. To find out more, call iMotors Letterkenny and Malin today on 074 9134 or visit imotors.ie.
Driving the new Fiat 500 is choosing an all-new, all-electric car with an impressive range and 0 to 80% fast charging in 30 minutes. It's choosing a car that's so full of tech it will confidently and safely drive you into the next decade. It's choosing to believe in a better tomorrow. Welcome back, future. New Fiat 500 prices start at €24,995 after government subsidies. Book a test drive at Joseph Doherty Limited, Moville, or visit fiat.ie.
From the smallest shrub to the largest tree in an awkward place, Donnelly Tree Services provide a complete range of tree surgery services. Whether you need to remove a dangerous tree or some nuisance branches, Donnelly Tree Services have the experience and expertise to carry out tree surgery to the highest of professional standards. Call 083 005 9939. Donnelly Tree Services, Donegal. No job is too small, no tree is too tall.
Buying or moving home can be a strange mixture of excitement and stress. So the last thing you need is worrying about conveyancing. Time to call Mckinney & Associates. They'll move that property transaction along swiftly, make sure everything's in order, and prevent any nasty surprises. Residential, commercial, leasing, or voluntary transfer, call today on 074 917 5989 or find us online. We'll do the paperwork, you do the wallpaper. Mckinney & Associates Solicitors, Stranorlar. How can we help?
70, 70, 70, 70, 70, 70, 70. Shoot, shoot!
Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring up to 70% off sale is now on. Everything's reduced. All tiles, all bathware, all wood flooring. Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring, 70% off sale is leaving the station. Sale ends Sunday.
Choo choo! This section was designed basically as an Italian garden, so you have the yew trees. We originally had cypress trees, but they didn't survive, so we've put oaks in instead, these tall, thin oaks. It's just a pleasing place to be, and it's that peculiar combination of formal but not fussy.
That's Down the Garden Path, a new series Wednesday nights on Highland Radio, after the news at 8 p.m.
Okay, you're welcome back to the programme. On to it, we welcome Yolanda. Good morning to you. Thanks for taking the call.
Thanks very much, Greg, for having me on. Good morning.
No, it's good to speak to you. Right, you have a suggestion, do you?
I do indeed. We're coming up to St. Patrick's Day, and with all the wars that's going on at the moment, I thought if people could actually go and buy one, you get a free card in the post office. It's Adam, people might remember.
Mm-hmm.
He was on the Late Late Show years ago, and he brought out a St. Patrick's Day card in the shape of a heart and a hug for everyone. And I just was thinking, how can we all express what's going on in a peaceful way towards trying to change the momentum of war, particularly with the Ukraine at the moment. So I would suggest that if people would think of collecting a free card from your post office and sending it to the Russian ambassador who's based in Dublin. Now, my thinking there is that he's a diplomat, and I actually sent one myself to him yesterday, and asking him to try and liaise with all his Russian, the other ambassadors around the world, and bring to Putin the groundswell that's here for peace.
And I think, this is who we are. If we in an organised way sent these cards requesting peace, this is who we are. I don't think we are reversing lorries into the gates of an ambassador's residence or whatever it might be.
Exactly,
this is how we
Greg,
deal with things. We are allegedly neutral.
You see how we all handled COVID. We didn't think we'd come through it, but we all acted collectively, and we got through a nightmare. Now, I think we've a small window to stop this chaos, and it has to be done in an immediate time frame. It's a simple idea. The core and the original came from a lovely, pure, innocent child. It's the language isn't anti or pro. It's non-judgmental. And it's really about, even if we buy the stamp, you get the card free, you buy the stamp, and some of the money from the stamp goes to local Irish charities.
Right, so you're supporting charities and you're supporting peace, and you send your plea for peace to Ambassador Yuri Filatov, Embassy of Russia, 186 Orwell Road, Rathgar, Dublin 14X 6R3.
Perfect. And I suppose it's a way that we can do it from our homes, Greg. We don't have to be putting a lot of energy. It's a once-off because Patrick's Day is coming up soon enough. And, if we just try and all have peace in our heart and think outside the box, sometimes the obvious doesn't work. And what we need is a de-escalating of this violence,
Okay.
and it starts with each individual. We have a responsibility.
All right, listen, thanks for that. It's a nice suggestion. I appreciate you sharing it with us. Okay, Deputy Pauline Tully is Sinn Féin spokesperson on disability and carers. Tell us about the motion you're bringing forward this week, and good morning to you, Deputy.
Good morning, Greg, and thank you for having me on. Yeah, I'm bringing a motion this evening. It's during the Sinn Féin private motion time, and it's on waiting times for interventions and interventions and assessment of need for children with disability. Basically, my office and indeed the office of all my colleagues are inundated with families contacting us about these waiting lists. The whole process was reorganised under what's called the progressing disability model, where they saw the establishment of 91 children's disability network teams throughout the state. But it turns out, while the teams are established, or officially they're established, they're all understaffed, or the vast majority of them are, and it's leading to huge problems for the children and their families. So what's happening is that children are being told that they might be waiting 2 years for speech and language, or occupational therapy or physiotherapy, whatever they might need. And indeed, there's quite a number of children waiting for assessments to see even what supports they are entitled to and should be receiving. And they've also kind of watered down the assessment of need process, because under the Disability Act of 2005, you're entitled to an assessment of need, which should be a multidisciplinary assessment which identifies a disability and then your needs and supports, health and educational support. The HRV have introduced a new standing operating procedure, and they've brought in what's called a preliminary team assessment, which is just a very basic assessment of children, and they're kind of trying to evade, I think, their obligation under the Disability Act, and are passing this off as a proper assessment of need to avoid being taken.
It's like some sort of a pre-assessment that may, on the books, look like a full assessment. Is that what we're talking about? And Deputy, how would your motion address these issues? Because you would know programmes like this, where we receive lots of correspondence from very upset families. You've already outlined that. But I think what they would want to hear is, what's the fix here? Because, we've got government talking, we've got opposition talking, but their situation remains the same. And I mean, I ask this question with all due respect, but in reality, how would this motion fix this problem?
Right, what the motion is hoping to do is to bring attention on this, because sometimes it's just ignored. It's also calling on the government to address it immediately. There's no quick fix, and we're not pretending that there is. So I don't want to give families hope that it's an overnight solution. But the biggest issue here is staff. There are insufficient staff, and we are seeing this across the health system, where there are insufficient staff and there's no proper development plan to address the shortages.
Are you satisfied that, for instance, there are the staff there and the people interested in this work that, if things are done correctly, they can be recruited? Or is there a shortage generally in this area? And if that is the case, we are talking a real medium to long-term plan.
There's two things here. Before the government introduced this new preliminary team assessment, they were contacted by the organisations that represent psychologists, for example, occupational therapists and physiotherapists and so on, and they told them that they were totally uncomfortable with this new assessment, that they was a dilution of the professional standards, and they indicated them after undertaking surveys that up to 40% of staff indicated they were going to leave the system if this was if they progress with this. They went ahead anyway, and what we've seen is a mass exodus of experienced clinicians from these teams. So that's one of the problems that they need to address. And what they're telling me as well, that the HSE are refusing to sit down and talk to them about that issue, but also about the recruitment and how to get more people involved and retention. Another issue around retention is the lack of career progression within the services. And then what you see are people hopping from one service to another, so they're going from disability services to primary care or to CAMS because of the way it's structured. And they need to address that as well. Because it's not fair on the children that are accessing these different services. The personnel are changing on a constant basis. So they need a proper care plan or a workforce plan put in place, but they also need to be actively maybe going around to our secondary schools and ensuring that we've enough people entering these professions, and then they need to look at some sort of a guarantee that they will have work in these services after they graduate.
That will take some time, but I understand.
It will take some time.
Listen, we'll watch with interest to see what happens. Deputy Tully, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Deputy Pauline Tully, Sinn Féin spokesperson on disability and carers, and I appreciate her endeavours, but I think, like as we heard yesterday on the programme, people want answers and want resolutions. People that live on their own with a single income, and also people who are of different needs and not being looked after, says this caller. It's one thing for people who are working and earning and where there are two incomes who are suffering, but there is not enough support for those who are really suffering. That comes in from Councillor Ian McGarvey. A caller says Russia has a right to protect itself. If the Cold War is solved, why do we still need NATO? Well, I think, it would be foolhardy for individual countries not to be aligned, would it not, when we have a large country with incredible power, enough to wipe this planet over out a few times. There is a deterrent element to it, I presume, to try and limit the types of situations we're seeing right now. Just a reminder, last June the 16th, the day after the Micah March, every single Sinn Féin TD voted to implement the Climate Action Plan, including increased carbon taxes. Yet here they are claiming to be opposed to government. I think they're calling for a deferral, but I take your point. Last one for now. Early hours of the morning, there has often been horses going up the Derry Road in a large pack from one area to another, all by themselves. A horse got spooked and took the whole side of a car off. Car owner never reported it, as he knew it'd just be trouble for him. The poor horse must have been injured. Okay, listen. Thanks for all your calls and comments and interactions with us today. I'll get to some of them tomorrow, all of them tomorrow, hopefully. But that's